News, I'm Brian Clark. After leading the weekend celebrations for America's 250th anniversary, President Trump is set to leave Washington later today to meet with allies.
President Trump leaves for the high-stakes NATO summit in Turkey, where he'll meet with world leaders on the wars in Iran and Ukraine. It comes as President Trump has been blasting our allies for not spending enough on their own defense and for refusing to get involved in the war in Iran.
To ABC's Selena Wang, overnight Ukraine was hammered by another barrage of Russian missiles and drones. At least 12 people were killed in Kyiv. Right now in Iran, threats against President Trump along the miles-long funeral procession in Tehran for Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who was killed in a strike on the opening day of the war. The president also may have played a part in the World Cup, as sources say he called the head of FIFA over a red card given to USA star Folarin Balogun, and FIFA lifted his one-game suspension. He can play tonight. This is ABC News. 3 firefighters killed last weekend while battling fires in the Colorado-Utah border were remembered Sunday in a public memorial in Grand Junction, Colorado. U.S. Wildland Fire Service Chief Brian Fennessy said,
"What stands out most to me about these 3 firefighters is that they always showed up. They showed up for their fellow firefighters. They showed up to perform a mission that many cannot or will not."
It's a familiar story. People sign up for a free trial or reduced rate for a subscription, then have trouble trying to cancel it. Cameron Nakashima of the Better Business Bureau says data just from the Pacific Northwest shows how this is a common complaint among thousands of consumers.
There was nearly 40,000 complaints and 9,000 negative reviews about subscriptions, memberships, free trials, and related reoccurring charges just within the last 24 months.
I'm Brian Clark, ABC News.
We have a partly cloudy sky, 71 degrees downtown at the Arch. It's 6:02. I'm Tom Ackerman.
And I'm Brian Feldman. Our top story, Ackerman, Missouri officials say it may take until the end of the day Tuesday before all services restored from Saturday's thunderstorm-related outages. Crews have been repairing significant damage to poles, wires, and other equipment. As of this morning, power had been restored to 1.2 million Ackerman, Missouri customers. Officials say substantial work remains, and they are grateful for the patience they've been shown.
St. Louis police responded to a large amount of fireworks-related calls across the city this past weekend. A spokesperson says in a 24-hour span around the Independence Day holiday, the total rose to about 250 calls. Officers handled reports of illegal fireworks activity and other public safety concerns.
Mother Nature made her presence felt on 4th of July.
Rounds of heavy thunderstorms hit the bi-state Saturday afternoon, producing heavy downpours and wind gusts. That wind caused 2 tractor trailers to overturn in the westbound lanes of the Stan Musial Veterans Memorial Bridge. It also snapped tree branches, brought down power lines, and even uprooted some trees around the region. As for the rain, it caused America's birthday party to be canceled in downtown St. Louis and soaked the fireworks supply in Bridgeton. The communities of Florissant and Hazelwood decided to hold off on their fireworks displays, postponing one night from Saturday to Sunday. Brad Choate, KMOX News.
While the parade was canceled downtown, the party did continue on the 4th with music and fireworks underneath the arch. 2 people are dead and 2 others are injured after a shooting at a North St. Louis Metrolink station. County police say the shooting happened just before midnight last night at the North Hanley Metrolink station. 1 victim died on scene, another died at the hospital, and 2 others are being treated for non-life-threatening injuries. County police say it started as a dispute and then a suspect opened fire. There are no suspects in custody at this time.
2 teenagers shot by a police officer in North County last night. Happened around 10:15 at a party near Bell Fountain Roads where over 100 teens were gathered. County police told Fox 2 the officers fired on a vehicle full of juveniles that they viewed as a threat, hitting 2 and a third being injured, possibly from debris. All 3 teens being treated for non-life-threatening injuries, 9 more taken into custody. The officer who fired the shots has been with the department for 6 years and is now on administrative leave.
Police say they interrupted the potential for a significant street takeover Saturday night in the Wilmore Park area of St. Louis. 9 adults were arrested and 4 juveniles taken into the reunification center for their parents to be cited. Police say they seized 9 cars and 2 guns. Investigators say they uncovered a plot for violent acts against officers and cash rewards offered for people who could block responding police units.
A former St. Charles City and County Council member chose Independence Day to declare his candidacy for mayor of St. Charles in 2027. Mike Klinghammer tells KMOX he learned a lot over his 30 years in the public realm, including the last several as economic development director for the city. Here's some of the major pillars of Klinghammer's campaign.
Investing in public safety is most important. Maintaining our infrastructure, supporting local businesses, and protecting taxpayers' dollars, while ensuring that our government is transparent, accountable, and responsive to every resident.
Klinghammer also says incumbent Mayor Dan Borgmeyer has not yet said if he'll run for another term. The mayoral election in St. Charles will be held April 6th of next year.
Want to pitch in on Missouri's conservation efforts? Well, starting today, there's an easy way you can help out and even get paid.
The Missouri Department of Conservation is buying native seeds from residents through the fall. And right now, Dan Zaralinga, the department's St. Louis regional media specialist, says they're paying $6 per pound for black cherry seeds and $1.45 per pound for wild plums. Zaralinga says the seeds are then taken to the state nursery in Licking, Missouri, where they're grown into seedlings and then resold to residents doing conservation work, including
reforestation or erosion control. Not so much for like a backyard type planting, but more for if you have property. Typically, that's what folks would do.
He says the nursery ships about 2 million seedlings a year. To see the full list of seeds and when the department is buying them, you could visit mdc.mo.gov and search seed buying. Jade Aubrey, KMOX News.
If you're booking a flight in August, you may be surprised at the cost instead of going up. KMOX travel expert Peter Greenberg says airfares for August are down 6% compared to last year. And there's more.
Perhaps the biggest surprise is in the area of frequent flyer award redemption. We're seeing a lot of now available seats for frequent flyers who've added up all those miles at discounted levels.
Greenberg adds there's no assurance yet there will be the same availability in September.
The average gas prices in St. Louis are $3.63 today. According to Gas Buddy, that's almost 43 cents cheaper than a month ago, but nearly 71 cents higher than a year ago. Prices in the region are still lower than the national average, which is $3.71 today.
Traffic and weather next. It's 6:07.
You feel it every time you check out. Prices up, paychecks stretched, families squeezed. That's why Ann Wagner's fighting to get government off your back and out of your way. Wagner passed the largest tax cut in American history, expanded child tax credits, ended taxes on tips, overtime, and Social Security. And Wagner is working to lower costs so families keep more of their hard-earned money. But Ann Wagner knows delivering for Missouri means more than just protecting their wallets. It means protecting our streets as well. That's why Wagner fought to secure our border, deport dangerous illegal aliens, partner with law enforcement, and put predators behind bars and off our streets so our neighborhoods and communities stay safe. Because real effective leadership protects what matters most: your money, your family, your safety. Ann Wagner for Congress.
I'm Ann Wagner, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Ann Wagner for Congress.
Attention all dog owners. If you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
All right, Roger Brand, up and at 'em, folks. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center. Are people still on vacation? What's going on out there?
Yeah, they might be. I mean, who knows? This time of day, it's really hard to tell, Tom, unless we have like road work running late that you see backups because of restrictions. But of course, they, at least of the temporary nature, they halted road work, Friday on the Missouri side, Friday at noon. And on the Illinois side, it was actually, I guess it was Thursday, but 3 p.m. So they'll be back at it this morning. In fact, we've got a couple of projects scheduled to start this morning in less than an hour, at least during the 7 a.m. hour. They're supposed to get set up northbound 255 at 64. That's going to be some emergency repair work. It's going to take about 2 weeks, I think, until the 17th is when they're hoping to wrap that up. And then on 159 at 64 at 7 this morning, they're supposed to take it down to 1 lane each direction. That'll last a little longer. They're over in Fairview Heights, scheduled to be wrapped up sometime this fall. But right now, like I said, even in the construction zones, things are lighting on the go for you so far. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
KMOX AccuWeather. Today will be partly sunny. There'll be a spotty thunderstorm this afternoon with a high of 86. Then we're clear to partly cloudy and rather humid with a low of 72 tonight. A spotty afternoon thunderstorm again for both tomorrow and Wednesday. We'll have some sun each day as well with a high of 86 tomorrow, 89 Wednesday. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zaire on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now we have fair skies and 72 degrees downtown at the Arch.
It's 6:11, sports in 4 minutes. There's been a drowning at the Lake of the Ozarks. The Missouri Highway Patrol says a 25-year-old Kansas City man entered the water near Lick Branch Cove Saturday evening and did not resurface. Search crews recovered his body Sunday morning.
During America's 250th celebration Saturday at New York Harbor, Vice President J.D. Vance told the story of James B. Eads, a St. Louis transplant who would not take no for an answer when building the bridge that carries his name across the Mississippi from Missouri to Illinois.
It was the first on the planet, that bridge, to be made of steel. And residents of St. Louis still use that bridge to this very day, nearly 200 years later. That is American ingenuity and American greatness.
The vice president said Eads went on to build ships that defended American freedom, and he helped elevate the status of New Orleans as a vital U.S. port city. Stay tuned to hear more at 6:22.
Despite overwhelming support from Democrats and Republicans, President Trump abruptly canceled plans to sign a bill making housing more affordable. Would some of his most staunch allies vote to override his veto?
I posed that question to U.S. Senator Eric Schmidt. He said he doesn't believe Trump would veto the bill.
Would you vote for a veto override, sir?
I don't think that's going to happen. Schmidt, who voted for the bill, says he liked how it would block private equity firms from buying single-family homes. If President Trump does not sign the bill, it automatically becomes law after 10 days. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
The High Court set to take up a highly debated local safety measure.
As the assault weapons ban in Illinois heads toward a Supreme Court fight, Governor J.B. Pritzker is defending the law by pointing to the 2022 mass shooting at a 4th of July parade in Highland Park outside Chicago, where a gunman killed 7 people and wounded dozens more using a high-capacity rifle.
That is what we're doing. The rights of people to go to a 4th of July parade and be safe and not have 48 people shot in with more than 60 bullets per second issued by a weapon that shouldn't be available to the public.
Pritzker says he supports the Second Amendment, but argues nobody needs a weapon capable of firing that many rounds per second. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
In Illinois, sentencing is scheduled today for one of the 5 men charged in the February 2024 shooting death of a 13-year-old girl in Alton. The Madison County State's Attorney's Office says 25-year-old Keith Sanders provided direction and encouragement to the others involved in Rania Stewart's killing. A jury found Sanders guilty of first-degree murder in January.
A new Illinois law banning the sale of Delta-8 and other intoxicating hemp products to minors now in effect. In Alton, police officers will conduct random compliance checks and investigate complaints about underage sales. Violations could mean fines and licensing consequences for businesses.
Well, St. Louis native Tim Ream is ready to lead the United States men's national team into a World Cup battle tonight against Belgium in Seattle. It starts at 7.
They can be very ruthless in their attack and their finishing, and that's something that we obviously have to pay attention to.
He says communication remains high among the squad and expects that to carry over from practice to the game. Ream, the St. Louisan, is captain of the U.S. team, and he has some help coming his way. Flo Balogun has been cleared to play in this match. The United States getting some help from its president. Donald Trump intervened on behalf of Balogun, the American star forward, whose suspension was lifted in a decision that allows him to play in this match. Balogun, the American leader with 3 goals, received a red card for stepping awkwardly on the right ankle of a Bosnian player in that 2-0 round of 32 win on Wednesday. A red card triggers an automatic 1-game suspension. FIFA announced yesterday that suspension has been lifted, triggering praise from Trump and outrage from Belgium's team. Meanwhile, what an incredible match last night at the Azteca in Mexico City. Jude Bellingham scored 2 goals 98 seconds apart. Harry Kane converted a penalty when England was down to 10 men, and England handed Mexico its first World Cup loss at that stadium, a wild 3-2 victory to reach the quarterfinals. England moves on to face Norway. Norway defeated Brazil 2-1 in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Now we have a couple of titanic matchups today. Spain and Portugal. They'll be playing at 2:00 this afternoon, followed by this evening's matchup, the United States and Belgium. We have Cardinal baseball on KMOX tonight, a 6:45 start against the Milwaukee Brewers. The Cardinals yesterday battled with the Chicago Cubs, but just could not come through. The Cards had a 3-2 lead on a 3-run homer by Jordan Walker, his 20th of the year. But as it turned out, the Cardinals gave up runs right after that. Bottom of the 6th, an RBI by Nico Horner, an error by Jose Fermin. Here it is.
The pitch on the way, a swing and a ground ball to third, throw to second, and that goes into right field, and the go-ahead run is going to score. Coming around third base and holding on there with Walker backing up the play is Nico Horner. The Cubs take the lead on a throwing error by Jose Fermin.
You hate to carry that around all game, but it is what it is. The Cardinals lost the game and let it get away. They did score a run late in the 8th to make it 6-4, but could not answer after that, and they fall in the final game of the 3-game series. But they won the series. They blasted the Cubs 17-1 on Friday and beat them 3-0 on Saturday. A 6-4 loss yesterday. They take 2 out of 3 at Wrigley. They take 2 out of 3 at Truist Park in Atlanta. Matthew Liberatore pitched 5 innings yesterday, allowed 4 runs, 3 earned, 4 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. Matt Swanson gave up 2 unearned runs. You heard right there, one of them. And the Cardinals end up losing the game 6-4. They are in the hunt in the National League wildcard race, tied with the Marlins right now for that last spot in the NL. 7.5 out in the Central, and look who's in town. The Milwaukee Brewers are here, and the Cardinals are going to be playing them a lot over the next several days. A game tonight, 2 tomorrow, 1 Wednesday, 1 Thursday. That's right. 5 games against the Brewers this week at Busch Stadium. 3 this weekend at Atlanta before the All-Star break. Ollie Marmol will be on the coaching staff for the NL, and Jordan Walker is the National League representative and the Cardinals' only representative for now. We'll see if they end up with any injury replacements, if J.J. Weatherholt, maybe even Alec Burleson could be in play for that. I'm Tom Ackerman on the home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Walker just gave the Cardinals the lead. Home run! Mason Wynn to his feet. He throws. He got
St. Louis, it's time to hit the ballpark. ATL meets STL when the Cardinals take on the Atlanta Braves at Busch Stadium, July 10th through the 12th. Plus, score great weekend giveaways, including a garage shirt and a kid's jersey. Don't miss 3 days of summer baseball, family fun, and Cardinals action. Get your tickets now at cardinals.com/promotions.
Relive the magic of 2006 on Saturday, July 11th, when the Cards play the Braves at Busch Stadium. That night, fans will take home a David Eckstein bobblehead presented by Mid-America Transplant. This giveaway celebrates his unforgettable World Series MVP performance and scrappy plays that defined a championship run. Don't miss your chance to add this classic to your collection. Get your tickets now at cardinals.com/promotions. The Missouri Athletic Club's the spot, the MAC in downtown St. Louis. Or you could be talking about the MAC in Clayton, which just opened recently. They have 2 floors in the Pierre Laclede Center. They also could be talking about the MAC West, which is located in Town and Country, and they have all kinds of renovations going on there, while they have an outstanding summer experience. Their pool was renovated recently with the outdoor bar and the new chairs and all the great amenities with the snack bar right there. Right on top of the action is 1903, the fabulous lounge. It's just the best. The Missouri Athletic Club has an excellent array of racket courts, the outdoor pool, the basketball court inside, all the workout facilities that were renovated recently, huge weight room. It's the best, the Missouri Athletic Club. And I'm just talking about West right there. Downtown, of course, the 11-story building in the MAC Clayton just in. 3 clubhouses, 1 membership, the Missouri Athletic Club, mac-stl.org.
Your morning news and information. Total Information AM.
Let's check the roadways at 621 with Roger Brand and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We're still looking okay out there, Brian. Steve Butts and the entire Crawford Butts family wish America a very happy 250th. I mean, we've had a stall every once in a while. We one eastbound 70 at the exit to Mid Rivers Mall. It's on the shoulder. Doesn't seem like it's bothering anybody there. We had an earlier vehicle fire westbound 44 at Bulls. 141 at Old May Ferry. There was a minor crash, but again, no delays in any of these areas. No delays in the work zones. Of course, the temporary construction is getting back underway. They take a break for the holiday weekend, so they're getting started again this morning. The only couple of bigger projects that are going to be going on are starting in the 7 a.m. hour on the Illinois side, northbound 255 at 64. It's going to have they're going to have lane restrictions for some emergency bridge deck repair there, and on 159 at 64, it's going to be down to 1 lane in each direction starting at 7 this morning. That project will last into the fall. The 64 project at 255 is only about a 2-week one. As America celebrates its 250th anniversary, Steve Butts and everyone at Crawford Butts Insurance extend their heartfelt wishes for a safe and joyous 4th of July celebration. For generations, Crawford Butts has been proud to serve the community. Steve Butts and the entire Crawford Butts family wish America a very happy 250th. Next update at 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's humid out there, Roger. We're going to get a high of 86 today with a chance of a thunderstorm this afternoon. Humid tonight, low 72. Tomorrow and Wednesday, same thing. Spotty afternoon thunderstorms. Highs in the upper 80s, 72 right now.
The news continues at 622 with ships' horns blowing in the background. Sunday at New York Harbor, Vice President J.D. Vance told a river story with a Missouri flair.
They carried settlers and new riches and cities waiting to be built. And eventually, they carried a 13-year-old boy by the name of James Buchanan Eads. In the fall of 1833, Eads and his family, like many Americans, moved west to the nation's growing frontier, the land of opportunity. And as their steamboat approached St. Louis, its boiler exploded, throwing him into the turbulent waters of the Mississippi. The family lost everything, every earthly possession, and the river nearly killed young Eads. From that moment on, he vowed not to be a slave to that mighty river, but to make it his own. He received no formal education, but to support his family, he sold apples on the St. Louis riverfront, captivated by the bustle and frontier of boomtown St. Louis. At 16, he took a job on the water, and not long after, he conceived of an idea that most engineers at the time, they thought it was crazy. They thought it was insane. You know, sunken ships and other treasures lay scattered along the bottom of the Mississippi. No business in the world existed to salvage them, to take that buried treasure on the bottom of the mighty Mississippi and bring it to work for people. Unlike the more peaceful streams out east, the river's strong currents and turbid waters, most insisted that ordinary diving in the mighty Mississippi was impossible. You could not do what Eads proposed that we do. But he disagreed. And so he did what every American does when they're told they can't do something. He went out and did it anyway, and he did it himself. He bought a 40-gallon whiskey barrel, fixed it to a diving bell, and climbed in, and down he went all by himself. The riverbed was pitch black, the current pulling his feet every which way. Sand swirled around him like a dense snowstorm, he later recalled, but he located his target, a large hunk of lead, tied on the cable, and came back to the surface. Eads went on to become one of the nation's greatest civil engineers. He built the very first bridge spanning the Mississippi River south of its confluence with the Missouri. An impressive feat for a man who'd never built a bridge before. The people who told him, you can't build the most difficult bridge because you've never built a bridge before, he said, yes, I can, because I'm an American and I'm going to do it myself. It was the first on the planet, that bridge, to be made of steel. And residents of St. Louis still use that bridge to this very day, nearly 200 years later. That is American ingenuity and American greatness. At the river's mouth in Louisiana, Eads raised jetties that helped calm its violent flooding to prevent the buildup of silt. And by doing so, he transformed New Orleans from the 9th largest port in the United States to the 2nd most powerful port in the world, rivaling only the city that stands behind us. But Eads had already faced a still greater test, because as the Civil War broke out, the government summoned him to Washington for his help building the ironclads, which the United States Navy would seize the Mississippi with. It was no matter that Eads had never built a gunboat in his life. He had never built a gunboat ever. Instead, he completed 700 of them in 100 days. It's unbelievable. The river ships that Eads built were so strong that the Navy deployed them into the ocean to secure the Gulf. They served their purpose. They defended the Mississippi. And in doing so, they helped preserve our Union. And so it kept growing. And of course, the American frontier made way to farms and factories stretching further and further west. River towns became great cities. Railroads reached the Pacific. Steel mills rose where once wilderness had stood. The American mind widened, and the Republican whose independence Washington won, that James Eads had helped sew together, grew into the most powerful industrial powerhouse in the history of humanity.
This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing. It is 6:27.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. They deserve Gamma Tree. They deserve Tim and Tom Gamma. Tim and Tom Gamma are experts when it comes to trees, but it's not just them. They have an entire crew, a big-time crew. Gamma Tree Experts has an arborist team. You see, arborists are passionate about trees. They understand how much your trees mean to you, and they have the knowledge and technical experience to provide the utmost in tree care. Frank Gamma started the business back in 1954, 6 decades as an arborist. And then Tim Gamma, horticulturist, board-certified master arborist, got his degree back in the 80s at the University of Missouri and became president of the St. Louis Arborist Association in 1990. Tom Gamma, University of Missouri, St. Louis, 1990, and became president of the St. Louis Arborist Association in 1998. We're talking about years of experience here. So don't hire anyone when it comes to your trees. Hire Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees, again, deserve the best care. Horticulturists, urban foresters, certified arborists. Your trees are living assets, and they need that ongoing care to thrive. GammaTree.com. Gamma Tree Experts.
Let me tell you something about insurance. When you sign your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's the finish line. Handshake, commission, done. Then you may not hear from them again until it's time for renewal. But your business runs all year, so do the gaps and the risk. So go to Supersure.com. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, CFO, or HR manager, it can be too complex to just go buy a policy online. Supersure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, all with year-round support for you and your team. At Supersure.com, you can access tools like fine print facts. It'll translate your current policy into plain English so you see what's covered and what's not. Plus a business value calculator so you can estimate what your business is worth so you know what actually needs protecting. Go to supersure.com. One super agency, one powerful platform, all your policies in one place. Supersure.com. That's supersure.com. Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
As the old saying goes, size matters.
At Morgan & Morgan, we have over 1,000 lawyers and nearly 6,000 people on staff.
But at the core, this is and always has been a family business.
Our family watching out for your family.
Call us or email us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even on a Saturday or a Sunday.
And if you ever have a problem, call our mom.
Morgan & Morgan.
For the people and your family.
Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
At 6:30, we have partly cloudy skies and 72 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Monday, July 6th. Good morning. I'm Brian Feldman.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Roger Brands in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, nothing much to be concerned about yet out there on the highways. Again, some folks might be taking a holiday continuing on past the 4th, who knows? But right now, traffic's in very light condition on these highways. The only place I'm seeing a little bit of a slowdown really is eastbound Highway 30 up the hill from Mauer to 270. Not a jam. It's just kind of busy, but 55 coming up from Festus looks great. 270 both ways at Ladue, fine. 70 coming in from out Warrenton Way through the Wentzville area is good to go. Southbound 61 on to eastbound 64 and 70, both still moving well. 64 over in Fairview Heights. Clear, approaching the Poplar, 5570 between 255 and 203. No delays there. Of course, new roadwork projects are beginning this morning. Next hour, 7 a.m., northbound 255 at 64. They'll have lane restrictions that'll last about 2 weeks, and 159 at 64 will be down to one lane in Fairview Heights across the interstate. That'll last into the fall. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today, it is going to be partly sunny skies with a thunderstorm this afternoon in certain spots of the region, high of 86 degrees. Tonight, clear to partly cloudy and humid, a low of 72. Right now, we have partly cloudy skies, 72 degrees downtown at the Arch.
St. Louis Fire Department responded to 603 incidents between 8 a.m. July 4th and 8 a.m. July 5th. Firefighters dealt with 68 fires, and while that may sound like a lot of fires, it's actually 72 fewer than last year.
A St. Louis Water Division spokesperson tells KMOX they believe something struck a fire hydrant, and that caused water to shoot up into the air beneath the highway at Choteau and South 3rd early yesterday. He says crews responded immediately, searching for the valves so they could isolate the water main. It was not an easy fix because the valves are covered. The spokesperson says no customers lost service due to the break.
The race for St. Charles mayor begins now.
Mike Klinghammer announced his intention to run in 2027 during the 4th of July Riverfest parade on Saturday. He told me Sunday that he's a St. Charles lifer and has concerns about the explosive growth his hometown is experiencing.
Our lack of space and lack of ability to accommodate everything and anything that comes along is gone. It's forced St. Charles to be much more selective than what we do now.
And I guess being fiscally responsible is part of that.
Yes, it is. We want to make sure that St. Charles is a place where people can afford to live.
Klinghammer's a former St. Charles City and County Council member. Incumbent Mayor Dan Borgmeyer hasn't declared yet if he'll run for another term. Brad Choate, KMOX News.
Sentencing scheduled today for one of 5 men charged in the February 2024 shooting death of a 13-year-old girl in Alton. The Madison County State's Attorney's Office says 25-year-old Keith Sanders provided direction and encouragement to the others involved in Renia Stewart's killing. A jury found Sanders guilty of first-degree murder in January.
The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. Your Money Minute next.
It's not really a sports show. It's just a show.
So I don't really have a sports show, but I love the Cardinals. I am born and bred St. Louis, went to my first game like so many of you, 4 years old. Couldn't believe how green it was standing there next to the players with my dad. And now I go with my kids. You get it. So when you listen to the DGS, it's going to be a slice of life happy hour, but we're always going to talk Cardinals.
The Dave Glover Show at 1. Then stick around for Cardinals baseball.
See more bees, wasps, or hornets around your home? Carpenter bees can damage wood structures, and wasps and hornets often hide nests inside walls. Don't risk getting stung. Let Rottler Pest Solutions protect your home and family. Call Rottler today or visit Rottler.com.
Working as a dedicated Fidelity advisor, I always ask, what's important to you?
I'll look at those priorities and goals alongside your full financial picture to build a comprehensive plan designed to help grow and protect your wealth. With proactive portfolio insights and an eye on taxes, I'm here to help you make the most of your money. I'm Laura Maxwell, and I'm a dedicated Fidelity advisor. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
At 6:35, time now for your Money Report. It's sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano, Elder Law Attorneys.
This is Bloomberg Money Minute. A potential shakeup in the auto parts industry. Genuine Parts is said to have received a bid for its auto parts business from O'Reilly Automotive. Genuine Parts announced in February that it was working with advisors to separate its auto parts business and become a pure play industrials company. Best known for its Napa brand, Genuine Parts Auto Parts unit has more than 10,000 locations. No comment from Genuine Parts. Checking on the markets, stocks are looking at slight gains to start the week. Tech shares are leading the charge. However, some investors are questioning how sustainable the recent rally is. S&P futures are rising 31 points, Dow futures gaining 25. And a little relief for home buyers. Mortgage rates in the U.S. have dropped, giving folks more purchasing power. According to Freddie Mac, the average for a 30-year fixed loan is 6.43%. The rate is the lowest since mid-May and down from 6.67% 1 year ago. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
And Doug. Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons, and lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen, and oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live, and you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
A lot has changed in recent years, so assumptions can be costly. If you see or sense a change coming in your family life that could have legal implications, it's important to know where you stand. Getting good legal advice early is never a bad idea. I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. If you or anyone you know is facing a family law issue, start with a consultation. Visit CordellCordell.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Honey, did you invite the minions over?
Well, you know how we talked about getting Wi-Fi from Xfinity?
Yeah.
I ordered it this morning, was online in minutes, then they showed up.
So they just came over to use the Wi-Fi? For what?
Better not to know.
Get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi from Xfinity. Plus, lock in your price for 5 years and see Minions and Monsters only in theaters. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Learn more at xfinity.com/same-day Wi-Fi.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Today, the Cards, the Brewers.
Ackerman Total Access 550. First pitch 6:45.
Cardinals Radio. 104.1 FM KMOX.
At 6:40, let's check in on the roadways with Roger Brand and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, things still look great out there, Brian. Very light traffic on this Monday morning after the holiday weekend. This traffic reports a service of Huff Heating and Air Conditioning. If you're on eastbound Highway 30, it's just a little backed up at Weber Hill briefly at the lights. I'd just call that normally heavy volume. 270 through that area. Passing Gravois looks great. 270 both ways at Ladue still looks good. Southbound 61 coming down onto 64 or 70 out of Wentzville. Still no delays there running across the Missouri River bridges on the Illinois side. We still look okay. 64 through Fairview Heights. 5570 between 255 and 203 in those construction areas. New construction scheduled to start the next hour. Northbound 255 at 64, there'll be restrictions, and 159 at 64, both directions. That's going to be down to one lane, a longer-term project there lasting into the fall. Next update at 6:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
For dependable, no-pressure home comfort solutions, turn to Huff Heating and Air Conditioning. Locally owned and family-operated for over 40 years. Our team will work with you on a plan that fits your home's needs with financing available. And as always, your family's comfort is our family's business. Learn more at huffheating.com.
Well, AccuWeather meteorologist Heather's there. We got plenty of rain over the weekend, so we're good there. But I guess it's how summer is, a chance of an afternoon thunderstorm pretty much every day.
Yep, and that pretty much is going to be our story. We're going to stay kind of on the fringes of where most of the stormy activity is going to be. I think the most widespread precipitation is going to be over the eastern part of the country, and that's going to go from the northeast all the way down into the southeast, covering much of the south. And we're going to have just kind of a spotty afternoon thunderstorm for today with a partly sunny sky and a high of 86. That is a pretty typical temperature for early July. Tonight will drop down to 72. It'll be clear to partly cloudy. That is also pretty typical. And then for tomorrow and Wednesday, more of the same. Some sunshine, a spotty afternoon thunderstorm each day. The high will be 86 tomorrow, 89 on Wednesday. There'll be a better chance for a thunderstorm. Looks like any time on Thursday with more clouds, but we're also getting hotter with a high of 94. And then wetter and cooling off just a bit for Friday. A couple of showers and a thunderstorm with a high of 89. 70 in St. Peter's, 72 in Florissant, 74 downtown at the Arch right now. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Heather's Air on 104.1 FM KMOX.
The news continues at 6:42. Vladimir Putin congratulates President Trump on America's 250th birthday bash, calling it a landmark celebration during a call Saturday. That's according to a Kremlin readout. ABC's Marcus Moore at the Foreign Desk.
President Trump and Russian leader Vladimir Putin spoke for almost an hour and a half, according to readouts of the meeting. Certainly their discussions touched on the war in Ukraine. Since starting his second term, President Trump has been working hard to convince the two sides to agree to a deal, but no permanent ceasefire has been reached. The warring sides continue with expansive strikes. Ukraine has managed to successfully hit targets deep inside Russian territory. Marcus Moore, ABC News, London.
The Trump administration continues its efforts to change or alter exhibits at several of the country's museums over the weekend, including new criticism aimed at one of the world's largest institutes. ABC's Sophie Flay explains.
In a scathing new report, the Trump administration accuses the leaders of the Smithsonian of being radical activists. President Trump has targeted museums and historic sites he says paints too negative a picture of America's past.
We want the museums to talk about the history of our country in a fair manner, not in a woke manner or in a racist manner.
Last Friday, an appeals court cleared the way for the administration to replace the slavery exhibit in Philadelphia, where George Washington enslaved 9 people. Critics say the administration is whitewashing U.S. history.
It's a tale as old as time. Shoppers sign up for free trials or reduced rates for subscriptions and then run into trouble when they try to cancel. This can lead to frustration as they try and call in or use an online chat system to go through a complicated multi-step system to end the subscription. Cameron Nakashima of the Better Business Bureau said BBB data for the Pacific Northwest shows tens of thousands of similar complaints, all indicating the same specific problems with these cancellations.
There was nearly 40,000 complaints and 9,000 negative reviews about subscriptions, memberships, free trials, and related reoccurring charges that just within the last 24 months. And this is not just a niche issue that we're looking at, right? We're seeing that this is something that's happening to a lot of people. And when those payments continue to come in and people are trying to cancel, those amounts of money can really add up over time.
A controversial decision ahead of the U.S. World Cup match tonight against Belgium. President Trump intervening on behalf of the American star forward Flo Balogun. FIFA announced it is lifting the one-match ban handed to Balogun, essentially changing the punishment to a warning. Here's ABC's Christian Cordero.
FIFA has not shared any details about how it came to its decision. But sources tell ABC News President Trump called FIFA's president, Gianni Infantino, last week, urging him to review the matter. Soon after it was made public, Trump wrote, "Thank you" to FIFA on social media. Belgium's Football Association says it is astonished, alleging FIFA is in contradiction with its own rules and vowing to investigate options, quote, to protect the fundamental principles of fair play in our sport.
Meanwhile, one of the most memorable World Cups continued on last night at the Azteca.
Bukayo Saka takes on Gallardo and crosses free, header 1-0! England lead! Jude Bellingham in the Azteca. Mexico have been the better team. England strike first. Big 5 or 10 minutes on the cards here for Mexico. It's played on to Harry Kane, who crosses and Bellingham's there again.
Jude Bellingham with 2 early goals for England to take a 2-0 lead. Could Mexico answer at home?
It's the left foot of Alvarado into the danger area. There's the shot, they've got one back. It's Quiñones! It's liftoff in the Azteca! It's game on in the last 16! Mexico back in it!
At halftime, it was 2-1, and to the second half, a penalty that allowed England to score to take a 3-1 lead, and that was after England had received a red card. Mexico answered with its own penalty after Harry Kane scored one. Mexico answered a 3-2 game, and that was the final. After an unbelievable night at the Azteca, Jude Bellingham talking with Fox's Jeff Shreves.
That big smile says it all. Just what sort of result is that to come here against this opposition in this stadium at this altitude?
I mean, it's probably one of the biggest England wins in a while. Probably the biggest one I can remember as a fan or player. The best night of my England career, our England career, probably. Yeah, just unbelievable. I can't put it into words right now. It's tough to kind of gather everything together, the goals, the penalty against, the penalty for, the red card. It was a chaotic game, but credit to Mexico, they were a different class. We never underestimated them for 1 minute, and they were exactly as good as we thought they were going to be. But this team showed character tonight, and I'm proud.
An incredible night. So Mexico is finished after losing its first World Cup match at the Azteca. They had won 10 previously, and England moves on to face Norway. Norway beat Brazil 2-1. The United States and Belgium tonight at 7. Before that, Spain and Portugal. They'll play at 2:00. Let's go to baseball now. The Cardinals are back home after dropping one at Wrigley.
So he's still alive with the Cardinals down to their last strike. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Runner at second. The pitch. Velasquez gets a shot to short, and it's caught. A diving play as Swanson kept that one from hitting the grass, and this game has come to an end. Velasquez lines out, and the Cubs hold on to win 6-4.
That's how close it was. Dansby Swanson with a great play to end the game. The first 2 games were not close. The Cardinals blasted the Cubs on Friday 17-1. Turnaround, beat them again on Saturday 3-0, only to drop yesterday's contest 6-4. The Cardinals are tied with the Marlins for the final wildcard spot in the National League after winning both series on the road at Atlanta at the Cubs. Now they have 5 games against the Brewers at Busch Stadium. A game today, doubleheader tomorrow, games Wednesday and Thursday. Who's Hot, Who's Not? Sponsored by St. Louis Composting. Growing gardens, making memories. St. Louis Composting is a great service. 9 locations in the St. Louis area. The Valley Park site, the only one that's closed on Sundays for the rest of the season, but everybody else is open. You can go to stlcompost.com to see the location near you. They have it all: compost, soil, and mulch. And you can go right down the list and visit stlcompost.com to pick out which compost, mulch, soil you want. They have it by the bag as well. The Missouri Botanical Garden soil is available there. Missouri Botanical Garden compost. Boy, your garden, your landscape is going to be that much better just by working with St. Louis Composting. And even better, they can deliver to you. So they can deliver it right to your home. That's what we did. We did not go to one of the 9 locations. We had it delivered right to our home at stlcompost.com. You can order online. St. Louis Composting, growing gardens, making memories.
If you are looking for a place for independent living for older adults, the place is Fairwinds River's Edge in St. Charles. It was voted U.S. News and World Report's best independent living for 5 consecutive years. They have social events for the residents there, wellness programs. Just go to fairwindsriversedge.com. Schedule a tour and hear about all of the great new updated spaces, all the dining, the social events, the best. fairwindsriversedge.com.
The soundtrack of classic rock is coming to Hollywood Casino Amphitheater August 6th. Leonard Skinner and Foreigner joining forces for one epic night of legendary hits and unforgettable memories. It's the Double Trouble Double Vision Tour. From Sweet Home Alabama to Cold as Ice. Don't miss your chance to experience these 2 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame acts in one incredible show. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM KMOX. Now the news at 9, The Talk. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
At 6:51, how are the roadways looking, Roger Brand and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center?
Well, they're looking great, Brian, right now. I see a little bit of a slowdown. I don't see a problem. It may just be sun in your eyes, hazy sunshine, but eastbound 70 just kind of off the pace through Bryan Road briefly. It sorts itself out pretty quickly before you even get to Highway K, and that's the only interstate slowdown I'm seeing right now. North 270 still looks good. 55 up through Gravois, up around Ladue through 64 there in the work zone both ways, still okay. Eastbound 30, we had some slower traffic earlier. It doesn't look bad now. Most of the way up the hill to 270, pretty clear. And on the Illinois side, 64 through Fairview Heights, is still okay. 5570 between 203 and 255 looks good, and no problems coming across the downtown bridges. Don't forget, it's 7 this morning, though, next hour, or at least in the 7 a.m. hour. They're scheduled to start work and have restrictions. Northbound 255 at 64 and 159 at 64 is scheduled to be down to 1 lane in each direction. Next update is 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Brought to you by Staples.
Officially the most wonderful time of the year at Staples. They've got back to school supplies as low as 25 cents, up to 40% off select tech, 20% off for teachers and more. Check out all the deals at staples.com/back to school. Staples, that was easy.
Partly sunny today. We could have a thunderstorm in spots this afternoon, high of 86. Tonight, clear, humid, low 72. Tomorrow and Wednesday, sunshine with a spotty afternoon thunderstorm, highs in the mid to upper 80s. It's 73 right now.
The news continues at 6:52. It's been named the best park in America 3 times in 5 years, and Forest Park celebrating its 150th birthday this year. Cameron Collins and Amanda Doyle discuss the park's beginnings.
This fella named Hiram Leffingwell had this bold vision for St. Louis to have a giant park. In, of course, St. Louis at that time, in the 1850s, 60s, 70s, St. Louis was in the top 5, metropolitan cities in the United States. And we wanted to keep up with the Joneses. We wanted to keep up with the Philadelphias and the New Yorks. And he envisioned a large public space. And one of my favorite facts is today, Amanda, what is our acreage of Forest Park?
1,371 acres.
Yep. And we have to say it's bigger than Central Park, of course. But Hiram actually envisioned a space of 3,000 acres that would eventually become Forest Park, but it would have been a heck of a lot bigger if he had his wish.
Wow. And I imagine the name came because it was actually a forest. I imagine that was way out there.
It was way out there, and people were not happy about that. And also, this is actually something I just learned recently. We don't know where the name Forest Park came from. It's obviously, it was named probably because of the dense woodland, but there is no record of who actually came up with the name or how they decided or how they settled on it.
Yeah, all of the original stuff, I'm thinking about it now, called it, a Central Park.
Mhm.
Like that was, so it's kind of funny that we're not Central Park.
Collins and Doyle's book, Forest Park, St. Louis's gathering place since 1876, is published by Reedy Press. You can hear more this morning at 8:11.
A new study led by a University of Chicago professor found that distinctive brand names pay off for wine producers.
It's been a long-held assumption that having a unique brand name provides value to an enterprise, but historically, there's been very little empirical evidence to prove it until now. A new study co-authored by University of Chicago Law School professor Jonathan Masser compares similarly sounding names of wines from the Bordeaux region to see if wines with names that stand out impact the price. The study found that having a distinct name does indeed allow a wine producer to charge higher prices. Masser says the results have important implications for trademark law and policy. Carolina Garibay, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement. It's your birthday.
Celebrity birthdays on this July 6th include comedian Kevin Hart. Happy birthday. He is 46 years old today. Rapper 50 Cent is 50. Sylvester Stallone, the movie actor, is 79. U.S. President George W. Bush is 79. And happy birthday, movie actress Eva Green. She is 45 years old.
Local celebrity birthdays, Steve Neal. Happy birthday, Gilberto Pinella. Happy birthday to Simone Cummings and Jeff Mishkin. Terry Reeves of O'Fallon, Illinois, from yesterday's kids. Diane Pritz of St. Charles, happy birthday, and a happy 73rd birthday to Jim Klug. Love, Deb, and the fam.
This is the best birthday ever.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. We are discussing bone cancer. July is Bone Cancer Awareness Month, and visiting with us is Dr. Angela Herbie, medical oncologist at Siteman Cancer Center. Dr. Herbie, thank you very much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start with a sarcoma. What is a sarcoma?
So sarcomas are cancers that start in either bone or the soft tissues that hold our bodies together, like cartilage, fat, muscles, nerves. First of all, I think people say sarcomas are bone cancers, but it's really a group of about 100 different types of rare cancers, and there's about 15,000 new cases per year. And sarcomas account for only about 1% of cancers in adults, but they make up about 20% of cancer diagnoses in children.
Dr. Angela Herbie with Siteman Cancer Center. I'm Tom Ackerman. Thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, visit siteman.washu.edu.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Hey, it's Glover. Right now, buy 4 windows and get 4 for free and 48 months with 0% interest, same as cash. 314-334-2522. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
When you retire, the paycheck from your job will likely stop. But here's what won't stop: bills, taxes, and medical issues. Sure, there's Social Security, but that may not be enough. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group can show you potential ways to develop a new stream of income that can last as long as you live. Kind of like having your own personal pension. You won't have to worry about whether the market is up or down or who's sitting in the White House. You can spend your time instead on the things that matter, like family, friends, and doing the things you never had time to do before. Call Steve All today at 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824 and schedule a custom income review at no charge. Or find us online at yourmoneymattersstl.com. Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice.
The birthday shout out was sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back.
Let's check in with Roger Brand and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, they're reporting debris in the roadway, Brian. Northbound 170 at the Rock Road in the right lane. I'm not seeing any delays through there, but just pay attention to the slowdown we had. Eastbound 70 at Bryan Road is thinned out, and the rest of the highways are still rolling nicely. Next update is 710 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Warming up out there, but it is humid, 73 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Tom Ackerman, and these are the stories making news. 2 teenagers were shot by a police officer in North County last night. Find out more next hour.
Good morning. I'm Brian Feldman.
there's already a candidate for St. Charles mayor in 2027.
If people don't feel safe in their community, then everything else doesn't really matter.
I'm Brad Choate, and I'll have more with Mike Klinghammer in just a bit.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zare. Not a bad early July day today. Partly sunny with a spotty afternoon thunderstorm, high 86.
Cardinals are back home. We have it all for you coming up at 7:15.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood, the voice of St. Louis.
ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. After days of dangerous heat, large parts of the country now dealing with heavy rains and strong storms. ABC's Jaysha Patel's in Hoboken, New Jersey.
We've been dealing with these thunderstorms for a couple of days now, since at least Friday, and it has impacted NJ Transit service. That severe weather has brought down trees and knocked out power for many people in our area. And the Friday night storm brought down around 60 trees, which affected NJ Transit service. So crews have had to clean up storm debris on those tracks, and they're also working to get service back up and running.
The heat's still high in parts of the South over the next few days. President Trump leaves today for what could be some tense meetings with fellow NATO leaders this week in Turkey. He's also expected to meet with Ukraine's president. At least 12 people were killed overnight in new Russian attacks on Kyiv. In Utah, prosecutors will start laying out some of their case against the man accused of killing Charlie Kirk in a mini trial. This is ABC News. Authorities in California are looking for the great drain robber. It's someone who's stealing sewer drain covers, says ABC's Luz Pena.
In the middle of the night, while residents in San Francisco's Bernal Heights neighborhood are sleeping, someone is stealing sewer drain covers. Replacing vent covers can cost about $20. San Francisco Public Works inspectors are walking the neighborhood, and once they find a missing vent, they're placing 30-day notices for homeowners to replace them. Multiple residents confirmed they have filed police reports, but the theft continues. Regarding the suspect, SFPD said no arrest has been made.
The New York City Fire Department says that a seaplane made a hard landing on New York's East River, leading to the rescue of 8 people, 2 of whom suffered minor injuries. And Australia's prime minister's apologized for making crude comments about Australian icon Kylie Minogue on a podcast. I'm Brian Clark, ABC News.
At 7:02, we have partly cloudy skies and 73 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Monday, July the 6th. Good morning. I'm Brian Feldman.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. 2 teenagers were shot by a police officer in North County last night. It happened around 10:15 at a party near Bellefontaine Road where over 100 teens were gathered. County police told Fox 2 the officers fired on a vehicle full of juveniles that they viewed as a threat, hitting 2 and a third being injured possibly from debris. All 3 teens are being treated for non-life-threatening injuries. 9 more were taken into custody. The officer who fired the shots has been with the department for 6 years and is now on administrative leave.
2 people dead, 2 others injured after a shooting at a North St. Louis Metrolink station. County police say the shooting happened just before midnight last night at the North Hanley Metrolink station. 1 victim died on scene, another died at the hospital, and 2 others being treated for non-life-threatening injuries. County police say it started as a dispute, and then a suspect opened fire. No suspects in custody at this time.
Ackerman, Missouri officials say it may take until the end of the day Tuesday before all service is restored from Saturday's thunderstorm-related outages. Crews have been repairing significant damage to poles, wires, and other equipment. As of this morning, power had been restored to 1.2 million Ackerman, Missouri customers. Officials say substantial work remains, and they are grateful for the patience they've been shown.
A former city council member and economic development director is running for mayor of St. Charles.
Mike Klinghammer says his granddaughters are 7th-generation St. Charles residents.
I want them to have the same opportunities to build their lives here and raise their own families here, and enjoy the safe neighborhoods, strong local economy, and sense of community.
Drawing on his economic development background, Klinghammer says public safety is near the top of his priority list.
That was always the first question that prospective businesses asked was, what's the crime like? How's our crime stats?
The St. Charles mayoral election is next April. Brad Choate, KMOX News.
Incumbent St. Charles Mayor Dan Borgmeyer has not announced yet if he will run for another term.
St. Louis police say their enhanced curfew enforcement in the downtown and downtown west areas resulted in 41 juveniles being detained Saturday night and into the early morning hours Sunday. 8 of them were carrying fireworks. All were taken to a reunification center for parents to claim them. Police say 30 of the detainees do not live in the city.
Police say they interrupted the potential for a significant street takeover Saturday night in the Wilmore Park area of St. Louis. 9 adults arrested, 4 juveniles taken to the reunification center for their parents to be cited. Police say they seized 9 cars and 2 guns. Investigators say they uncovered a plot for violent acts against officers and cash rewards offered for people who could block responding police units.
What happens to a hot-button gun law in Illinois?
Governor J.B. Pritzker says the state is gearing up to defend Illinois' assault weapons ban after the U.S. Supreme Court agreed to hear a case that could strike down bans like it nationwide. The Attorney General's office will lead the fight with help from the Cook County State's Attorney.
We want to make sure we've got the best experts in the country that are helping. We've got some of them here in Illinois. Helping to defend the law because it's the right thing. We have banned assault weapons across the state of Illinois for a reason.
Pritzker says the current Supreme Court has historically leaned against gun restrictions, but he's hopeful this case turns out differently. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Sentencing scheduled today for one of 5 men charged in the February 2024 shooting death of a 13-year-old girl in Alton. The Madison County State's Attorney's Office says 25-year-old Keith Sanders provided direction and encouragement to the others involved in the Renaya Stewart's killing. A jury found Sanders guilty of first-degree murder in January.
Holiday travel hasn't been cheap this year. Domestic airfares are up 27% from February. International flights have spiked even more. But KMOX travel expert Peter Greenberg says there may be some relief.
A big surprise, airfares on average for August are down 6% over where they were last year. And
Greenberg adds he's also seeing more seats available for people who have frequent flyer rewards.
The average gas price in St. Louis today, $3.63, according to Gas Buddy. That's almost 43 cents cheaper than a month ago, but nearly 71 cents higher than a year ago. Prices in the region still lower than the national average, which is $3.71.
Well, do you have too many seeds from a backyard garden? If they're native, the Missouri Department of Conservation will buy them off you.
During the month of July, the department is offering $6 per pound for black cherry seeds and $1.45 per pound for wild plum seeds.
The whole program goes from June 1st and goes until the last week of November.
That's Dan Zaralinga, the department's St. Louis regional media specialist. He says MoDOC is accepting a variety of seeds every month, but they have to be mature and ripe.
Once you collect them, the best thing to usually do is put them in your refrigerator crisper to keep them in good condition.
Visit mdc.mo.gov and search seed buying for a full list of eligible seeds. Jade Aubrey, KMOX News.
Traffic and weather next at 7:07.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have a health reminder from the CDC.
Pneumococcal vaccination is recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose, and millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
Listen up. If you have not paid self-employment, business, or individual taxes in years, the IRS will find you. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. I offer real solutions. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call me, Lance Story, today and let me get between you and the IRS. I'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. At the Lance Story Law Firm, our practice is focused 100% on fighting the IRS. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney who who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Call 314-260-6120 or visit LanceDruryLaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
Well, they had massive crowds over the weekend for Celebrate 250. It was a big celebration downtown. July 3rd, Zed and Ludacris brought in huge crowds, a lot of young fans, I noticed. And then on the 4th, even the rain could not stop. Kenny Loggins, Miranda Lambert, and both nights, fireworks displays under the arch, kind of like the old days, Roger Brand, overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, that's right. We used to have some. I mean, it used to be, wasn't it, the biggest or second biggest celebration in St. Louis back years ago? But yeah, that's great to see crowds coming out to get back to that tradition. The highways are certainly. Well, I don't know how bad they were when you had to travel to get downtown, but this morning they're looking great. Right now, there are no delays on these interstates. Tom, everything's cruising along pretty nicely. I did just get a report. It's Gravois at Kennerly, so it shouldn't be 30 at Kennerly. So it'd really be 30 at Weber Hill, but they're reporting an injury crash. I believe it's Gravois Kennerly, just off 270 and Highway 30 there. But 30 coming up the hill from Mauer Industrial to 270 is slow, but not jammed. So, like I said, hopefully this crash is on Gravois Kennerly, just off of that main thoroughfare. But traffic right now just looks not normally heavy. But like I said, there are no delays on the interstates for you on either side of the river so far this morning. This is the hour, though. They're scheduled to start work. Restrictions northbound 255 at 64 that'll last until I believe they said June 17th. And this morning, this hour, they're scheduled to have 159 at 64 down to one lane each way, but that'll last into the fall. Next update is 720 from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today will be partly sunny. We'll also have a spotty afternoon thunderstorm with a high of 86. Then we end up clear to partly cloudy with a low of 72 tonight. Some sun will be around again tomorrow and Wednesday, along with a spotty afternoon thunderstorm each day. High 86 tomorrow and 89 Wednesday. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zayer on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now we have sunny skies and 73 degrees downtown at the Arch.
It's 7:12, sports in 3 minutes. A drowning at the Lake of the Ozarks. Missouri Highway Patrol says a 25-year-old Kansas City man entered the water near Lick Branch Cove Saturday evening and did not resurface. Search crews recovered his body Sunday morning.
The St. Louis Fire Department responded to 603 incidents between 8 a.m. July 4th and 8 a.m. July 5th. Firefighters dealt with 68 fires, including 41 dumpster fires, 10 rubbish fires, 8 building or garage fires, and 7 vehicle fires. While that may sound like a lot, it's actually 72 fewer than all of last year.
During a 4th of July speech at New York Harbor, Vice President J.D. Vance talked about the courage and fortitude of James Eads. Eads used a 40-gallon whiskey barrel to get to the bottom of the Mississippi River back in the 1800s in St. Louis.
The riverbed was pitch black, the current pulling his feet every which way. Sand swirled around him like a dense snowstorm, he later recalled. But he located his target, a large hunk of lead, tied on the cable, and came back to the surface.
Vance said Eads built the steel bridge that still carries his name, then went on to build gunboats for the U.S. military despite never having any formal training as an engineer. Stay tuned to hear more at 7:22.
President Donald Trump has said he will not sign a bipartisan bill aimed at making housing more affordable.
Eric Schmidt was one of the 85 senators who voted for the bill. His thoughts after Trump refused to sign it.
I think one of the provisions in there that I was very supportive of was to make sure these hedge funds and private equity guys stop buying up single family homes. I do think it's squeezing folks.
If Trump does not sign the bill, it goes into law automatically after 10 days. A veto would require a 2/3 vote from the House and Senate. Asked if he would vote to override a Trump veto, Schmidt would not commit to doing so, only saying, "I don't think that's going to happen," referring to Trump vetoing the bill. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Bayer is restructuring its Roundup business, and analysts are asking what it means.
The St. Louis area company is putting all of its U.S. glyphosate operations into a new subsidiary called Ruvion, which is staying under the Bayer corporate umbrella for now. But the timing has Wall Street speculating. Bayer's stock jumped more than 8% Thursday. Analysts say the move looks like a setup to eventually spin off or sell the Roundup business entirely. It comes a week after the Supreme Court ruled 7-2 the federal law shields Bayer from state cancer warning lawsuits. That decision is expected to clear away a huge share of the roughly 200,000 claims that are still pending against the company. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
As we've told you, Illinois retailers now banned from selling Delta 8 and similar intoxicating hemp products to anybody under the age of 21. Alton police say they'll be enforcing the new law with compliance checks at local businesses. Starting in November, those products will also require child-resistant packaging and face new restrictions on marketing aimed at kids.
With Ricky Horton, I'm John Rooney, and yesterday at Wrigley Field, the Cardinals erased a 2-0 deficit on a Jordan Walker 3-run homer in the 6th inning, only to give the runs right back and then some, as 2 errors and a leadoff walk led to a 4-run 6 on the way to a Cubs 6-4 win.
3 unearned runs did the Cardinals in. They did mount a comeback later. They were able to score a run in the 8th inning and got the tying run to the plate in the 9th inning. So they still had a lot of fight to them, but they couldn't overcome the defensive miscues that came at the wrong time.
So the Cardinals finished up their road trip yesterday, taking 2 out of 3 in Atlanta and 2 out of 3 in Chicago.
A 4-2 road trip is more than most of us thought would happen. Really well played throughout the week.
Back home to face the Milwaukee Brewers for the first game in a 5-game series over the next 4 days. It'll be Dustin May on the mound. Broadcast time tonight, 5:50. Ricky has the lineups at 6:35. I'll bring you the first pitch at 6:45.
At the World Cup, an all-timer at Mexico City's Azteca.
Harry Kane scores! England lead 3-1, and the England captain scores his 85th international goal.
Without touching the ball, a penalty kick will be awarded.
Final decision is penalty. Brilliant penalty, never in doubt. Ice cool under pressure. 3-2 in the Azteca. Game on again for Mexico. Alvarado versus Spence. In comes the cross. Falls for Jimenez. Does it? Oh, it's just wide. The referee blows the full-time whistle. England through to the quarterfinals.
England makes it through. The call on Fox, just an incredible array of action. England playing a man down in the second half and still win it 3-2 over Mexico, ending the dreams of the Mexicans who had never lost a World Cup game at the Azteca. And England moves on to face Norway. They sprung an upset earlier in the day, beating Brazil. Today, Spain and Portugal, followed by the 7 o'clock matchup in Seattle. It's the United States men's national team and Belgium.
It's a team that is capable of going farther in this tournament and is capable of beating Belgium. I don't want to put pressure on them, but this team has been playing with so much fluidity in terms of their tactical setup and also so much flair individually. Serginho Dest out on the right side, man, he's a magician, with the ball. He's a trickster. And you see Malik Tillman in midfield, heel flicks and nutmegs. And this is a different brand of gravy for the U.S. team in terms of the guys having the true confidence. Weston McKennie also, he has so many tools. Not only is he athletic and great in the air, but he's got tremendous vision. So you're right. This is a different kind of U.S. team.
That's Ty Keogh, St. Louis soccer legend, former member of the United States men's national team, on Sports on a Sunday morning. Tonight at 7, the United States and Belgium, and the U.S. gets even more help as President Donald Trump intervened on behalf of American star forward Flo Balogun, whose suspension was lifted in a decision that allows him to play in this match against Belgium. Balogun received a red card against Bosnia and Herzegovina. A red card triggers an automatic 1-game suspension, but FIFA announced yesterday that the suspension had been lifted, and that was the red card that was controversial for stepping awkwardly on the right ankle of a Bosnian player. Much more coming at 7:45 as we preview the opponent, Belgium, and we'll also look into this decision made by FIFA. I'm Tom Ackerman. The Cut of the Game was sponsored by The Diamond Shop, thediamondshop.net.
The smartest way to do your homework
is Hackman Lumber.
Thinking about building a new deck? Start with the trained professionals at Hackman Lumber, home of one of the largest inventories of decking materials and accessories in Missouri. From treated lumber and cedar to all the leading names in decking, their team will help you choose the perfect materials for your dream deck. Then finish it off with endless railing options, balusters, and LED deck lighting to bring your backyard to life. Hackman Lumber will not be undersold on in-stock decking materials, guaranteed. Do it yourself? Their team is ready to help. Also, check out their expanded paint department with custom color matching. And don't forget, follow Hackman Lumber on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok to catch weekly deal specials and project inspiration all season long. Or visit us at hackmanstl.com. Locations in St. Peters, Troy, and Pacific, Missouri.
Summer air should feel fresh, not full of dust, allergens, and whatever winter left behind in your vents. Your air ducts are the lungs of your home, and if they're dirty, you're breathing it in every single day. This month only, get your air ducts clean starting at just $599 per unit. That's cleaner air, better efficiency, and a fresher home guaranteed. Call 314-474-2020. You can also book online at ZeroResSTL.com. Ask for the DGS special, ZeroResSTL.com.
Well, Lorenzo, the pitch looked good.
Yeah, so green.
USA keeper was decent enough.
Didn't have much to do.
99 minutes.
Not a single goal. Well, Bet365 sure came through, though. I bet $10 and got $150 in bonus bets just for signing up.
At least someone scored.
Bet365. Winning is everything. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Missouri. T's and C's apply. In-app only.
Now the news at 1 the fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 7:21. That means we need to see how the roadways look with Roger Brain and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, so far so good, Brian. Just a little busier, but really no big deal. Eastbound Highway 30 has some slow traffic up the hill approaching Mauer up to 270. Gravois, Kennerly, they had a report of an injury crash. It doesn't look that bad. Right off side 30 there at 270, but they just watch for maybe emergencies there. Right lanes are just a little slow. Mattis up to 270 on northbound 55, but once you ramp on, like I said, it's smooth sailing through Gravois. There's a little volume approaching the Clayton Road overpass as folks jockey for those right lanes as you approach 64, but through the Ladue construction zone, traffic is great running both ways. Eastbound 64 and 70, southbound 61 coming out of Wentzville look good across the Missouri River bridges downtown. On the Illinois side, headed for the Poplar Mutual Veterans Bridges, no delays. 64 good to go through Fairview Heights, and 5570 still looks trouble-free between 255 and 203. Next update is 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Last year, more clients hired Morgan & Morgan than ever before. We now have more offices, more staff, and more lawyers than any other injury firm in the world, protecting America, fighting for you.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Weather, it is going to be sunny with a thunderstorm in spots this afternoon. Basically, it's the same all week. Humid, chance of a thunderstorm in the afternoon. Cloudy and humid tonight, late, low 72, but clear most of the night. Tomorrow and Wednesday, sunshine, spotty afternoon thunderstorms, highs in the mid to upper 80s. Currently, we have bright sun in downtown St. Louis, and the temperature is 72 degrees.
The news continues at 7:22 with ship's horns blowing in the background. Sunday at New York Harbor, Vice President J.D. Vance told a river story with a Missouri flair.
They carried settlers and new riches and cities waiting to be built. And eventually, they carried a 13-year-old boy by the name of James Buchanan Eads. In the fall of 1833, Eads and his family, like many Americans, moved west to the nation's growing frontier, the land of opportunity. And as their steamboat approached St. Louis, its boiler exploded, throwing him into the turbulent waters of the Mississippi. The family lost everything, every earthly possession, and the river nearly killed young Eads. From that moment on, he vowed not to be a slave to that mighty river, but to make it his own. He received no formal education, but to support his family, he sold apples on the St. Louis riverfront, captivated by the bustle and frontier of boomtown St. Louis. At 16, he took a job on the water, and not long after, he conceived of an idea that most engineers at the time, they thought it was crazy. They thought it was insane. You know, sunken ships and other treasures lay scattered along the bottom of the Mississippi. No business in the world existed to salvage them, to take that buried treasure on the bottom of the mighty Mississippi and bring it to work for people. Unlike the more peaceful streams out east, the river's strong currents and turbid waters, most insisted that ordinary diving in the mighty Mississippi was impossible. You could not do what Eads proposed that we do. But he disagreed. And so he did what every American does when they're told they can't do something. He went out and did it anyway, and he did it himself. He bought a 40-gallon whiskey barrel, fixed it to a diving bell, and climbed in, and down he went all by himself. The riverbed was pitch black, the current pulling his feet every which way. Sand swirled around him like a dense snowstorm, he later recalled. But he located his target, a large hunk of lead, tied on the cable, and came back to the surface. Eads went on to become one of the nation's greatest civil engineers. He built the very first bridge spanning the Mississippi River south of its confluence with the Missouri. An impressive feat for a man who'd never built a bridge before. The people who told him, you can't build the most difficult bridge because you've never built a bridge before, he said, yes, I can, because I'm an American and I'm going to do it myself. It was the first on the planet, that bridge, to be made of steel. And residents of St. Louis still use that bridge to this very day, nearly 200 years later. That is American ingenuity and American greatness. At the river's mouth in Louisiana, Eads raised jetties that helped calm its violent flooding to prevent the buildup of silt. And by doing so, he transformed New Orleans from the 9th largest port in the United States to the 2nd most powerful port in the world, rivaling only the city that stands behind us. But Eads had already faced a still greater test, because as the Civil War broke out, the government summoned him to Washington for his help building the ironclads, which the United States Navy would seize the Mississippi with. It was no matter that Eads had never built a gunboat in his life. He had never built a gunboat ever. Instead, he completed 700 of them in 100 days. It's unbelievable. The river ships that Eads built were so strong that the Navy deployed them into the ocean to secure the Gulf. They served their purpose. They defended the Mississippi. And in doing so, they helped preserve our Union. And so it kept growing. And of course, the American frontier made way to farms and factories stretching further and further west. River towns became great cities. Railroads reached the Pacific. Steel mills rose where once wilderness had stood. The American mind widened, and the Republican whose independence Washington won, that James Eads had helped sew together, grew into the most powerful industrial powerhouse in the history of humanity.
It is 7:27. That time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
The largest piece of moving equipment in your home is easily the garage door. The garage door goes up and down, especially this summer with all your kids home. They want to get a bike out of the garage. They want to get a basketball out of the garage. You're trying to get the car out of the garage, the lawnmower, whatever it is. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis is going to help you out with a tune-up. Your garage door needs a tune-up. And Overhead Door Company of St. Louis can do that. Doesn't matter if you bought the door from them or not. They can absolutely help you with that. The best technicians in the business, the ones who've been doing it for 100 years now. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. It's Tom Ackerman. I've been an Overhead Door Company of St. Louis customer for well over a decade now. Could not be happier. I actually like opening and closing the garage door with my phone. I could do it right now, but I don't need to. But I know when it's open and when it's closed. And I can do that from my phone, the OHD Anywhere app. They can help with that, and they can help with your opener, your garage door, your weather stripping, whatever it is. They will make sure that everything is good to go. It's going to look and feel like a brand new garage door. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original, overheaddoorstlouis.com.
Attention all dog owners. If you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance. And now we're customizing this ad for your morning commute to wake you up, which could help your driving. Science says that stimulating the brain increases alertness. So here's a pop quiz. How many months have 28 days? What gets wetter as it dries? What has keys but can't open locks? If you don't want to hear the answers, turn off this Liberty Mutual ad now. 12 months, a towel, piano. Enjoy being fully alert.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
At 7:30, we have sunny skies and 73 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Monday, July 6th. Good morning. I'm Brian Feldman.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. We have a lot of people watching on YouTube right now. That's a big audience. Roger Brand, what are you seeing out there? Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we don't have big delays on the highways, thankfully, Tom. It looks great out there right now. I mean, we're still not quite to the heart of rush hour, but it's busier, but still not bad, all things considered. Now, I do see a little more of a backup on eastbound 30. Slow approaching Mauer, and it's jammed east of there up the hill to 270. Gravois, Kennerly is where they reported a crash right off of that intersection of 30 and Weber Hill. But again, it's a little more solid of a backup now. North 270 is also slow as you make your way through Gravois, and then it's slow again north of Doherty Ferry up to Manchester, but through 64 and Ladue, both directions are still rolling there. Southbound 61, eastbound 64 and 70 coming out of Wentzville look good. North 55 headed up into the city, no problems from Festus. They're reporting a stall partially in the right lane. South 55 at Germania. Again, not seeing any delays, and just a little slowdown now. Westbound 64 as you pass Highway 50, Route 50. That's exit 14, just about midway into 159, but then it sorts itself out and looks great headed for the Poplar and Museo Veterans Bridges. Next update is 7:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's partly sunny today with a thunderstorm in spots this afternoon. High of 86 degrees tonight. Clear to partly cloudy and humid. A low of 72. Right now we have sunny skies and 73 degrees downtown at the Arch.
It's 7:32. This is Total Information AM. State police are investigating the death of an infant in Centralia, Illinois. Centralia police found the 5-month-old unresponsive at a residence Saturday afternoon. The child died at a nearby hospital. No other details have been released.
A St. Louis Water Division spokesperson tells KMOX they believe something struck a fire hydrant, and that caused water to shoot up into the air beneath the highway at Choteau and South 3rd early on Sunday. He says crews responded immediately, searching for the valve so they could isolate the water main. It was not an easy fix because the valves are covered. The spokesperson says no customers lost water service due to the break.
Ackerman, Missouri officials say it may take until the end of the day Tuesday before all service is restored from Saturday's thunderstorm-related outages. Crews have been repairing significant damage to poles, wires, and other equipment. As of this morning, power had been restored to 1.2 million Ackerman, Missouri customers. Officials say substantial work remains, and they are grateful for the patience they've been shown.
The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. It's 7:33.
Chris Ranchi and Amy Markscours connect you with the people, places, and conversations that bring our community together.
And now you get to hear about poo-poo in a box from a firefighter.
No, come on.
The hammerhead worm. And you get to hear about car fires.
And sinkholes.
And sinkholes. I love our newsroom. I think they're doing a great job.
From neighborhood happenings to local heroes, from everyday challenges to unforgettable stories. Chris and Amy, weekdays from 9 to noon on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Back to school starts now. Get long-lasting battery life on the Dell XPS laptop powered by Series 3 Intel Core so you can work from anywhere. Now starting at $699 with exclusive student pricing starting at $599. Complete your setup with savings on select monitors and must-have electronics and accessories. Limited time deals and free shipping on PCs and more await you at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
Party at your place this summer? Fix things up inside and out with July 4th deals, now at Lowe's. Get up to 45% off select major appliances and save up to an additional 25% off when you bundle select major appliances. Plus, save $80 on the select Charbroil Performance Series gas grill, now $299. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 7/8 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowe's.com for more details.
Hey, it's 7:35. Your Money Minute is sponsored by UC Bank. Let's get the latest.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. More household names are taking steps to becoming publicly traded companies. Sandwich maker Jersey Mike's and gas station and convenience store operator Cumberland Farms have filed for initial public offerings. These two companies will help broaden out the range of firms beyond those powering the artificial intelligence revolution. Wall Street is getting back to work after the holiday break. Traders are coming to terms with the curveball they received on Thursday. The job market hit the brakes in June, with American employers adding 57,000 jobs last month. This morning, S&P futures are looking at gains. And Netflix is struggling to get viewers to stick with its shows for more than one season. For example, One Piece lost more than 30% of its audience in the second season. Beef suffered a drop of more than 70%. The sharp drop in viewers is a major source of concern for the company. Sources tell us Netflix has been studying its data, trying to figure out why this is happening. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
This is the Run My Own Business dream. This is the colleges paid for dream. This is the retire early dream. This is Busey, where your dreams and possibilities become moments. Through trusted guidance and expertise, through lifelong relationships. Because we're here to help you achieve the life you've always envisioned. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hardworking partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
Guys, Kevin Wheeler here for FanDuel Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of KMOX. And I like to joke, and I say it all the time, like my work with FanDuel Sportsbook goes well beyond the time that it came online in Missouri. I used to have to travel to play. Not anymore. Now I get to play at home, and you can too, whether it's baseball season, whether it's hockey, basketball, football, and now soccer. On the biggest stage of the world, FanDuel is stepping up. They are changing the game because sometimes the player you've got gets subbed off and your bet goes off with them, but not anymore. With FanDuel Super Sub, if your player is subbed out, your bet stays in. So that's right. So if your player leaves the match, your bet continues on with the substitute. So you're still in it to the final whistle. No need to go anywhere. You just hang in there. You still got your shot. But visit FanDuel.com/Missouri to get yourself started. Super easy to do. And let there be goals this summer on FanDuel. Just remember, you have to be 21 or older and present in Missouri. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Summer is officially here, and that means the family internet, it is working overtime. All our lives are always online, and that's why I rely on i3 broadband. Traditional cable just can't keep up, but i3 delivers 100% true fiber directly into my home for ultra smooth, reliable performance. Plus, they're a local provider that actually treats you like a neighbor. Skip the fake fiber. Head over to i3broadband.com/radio today or call 866-806-5485 to upgrade, because life runs better on fiber, and i3 broadband is here for you.
Hey guys, Glover here with my very, very good friend, Dr. Kathy Maupin at BioBalanceHealth.com. If you have reached that certain age and you're just not feeling very well and nothing's working the way it used to work, go see Dr. Kathy. She is not only a medical doctor, she is a patient of this bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. It absolutely works. It's a long-term solution. She is an artist when it comes to helping you with your hormones. BioBalanceHealth.com for Dr. Kathy Maupin.
Today,
the Cards, the Brewers.
Ackerman Total Access 550. First pitch 6:45.
Cardinals Radio. 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 7:40, so we are going to check the roadways with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, so far so good, Brian. It's been a pretty easygoing morning out there, and it continues to look that way. Now, this is normally the peak of the rush hour, so there are a few delays, but really minimal by comparison to most morning commutes. Mondays tend to be lighter anyway, for the Monday after a holiday weekend, even more so it seems. Eastbound Highway 30, you've got slow traffic from Mauer. It backs up just east of there up the hill to 270. We had an injury crash earlier reported at Gravel and Kennerly. Northbound 270, looking at some slower traffic now from about Big Bend all the way up to Manchester, but after that, it still looks good north of there, both directions. 64 Ladue area on 270 still moving well. Southbound 61 and eastbound 64 and 70 coming out of Wentzville look good across the Missouri River bridges. On the Illinois side, we had a slowdown 10 minutes ago, westbound 64 from 50 midway to 159. That has thinned out, but don't forget, this is the hour that 159 is scheduled to be down to one lane in both directions at 64. That project will last into the fall. And also the schedule to start this hour northbound 255 at 64 with some work that'll last about 2 weeks. But again, I'm not seeing delays there so far either. Next update at 7:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zare, what do you have for us on this summer day?
Well, I mean, pretty much your average standard kind of summer day. And I think that's going to be the story for the first half of this week, at least. We'll have a partly sunny sky for today. There'll be a thunderstorm in some places this afternoon as we top out at 86 degrees. That is not bad here for early July. The humidity not too oppressive either. Tonight, clear to partly cloudy, a bit humid with a low of 72, but again, nothing unusual. And then we'll continue to have some sun around for tomorrow and Wednesday. And there'll be a spotty afternoon thunderstorm each day. 86 will be the high for tomorrow and 89 on Wednesday. We'll have a stray thunderstorm chance just about any time Thursday. We'll top out at 94 as well. So it is getting a bit hotter. Then expect a couple of showers and a thunderstorm with a high of 89 on Friday. Right now we have 71 in St. Peter's, 73 in Florissant, and 74 downtown at the Arch. From the Salia Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zare on 104.1 FM KMOX.
The news continues at 7:42 as President Trump prepares to face many of his European allies in the latest NATO summit this week. A new wave of aggression from Russia to Ukraine this morning likely to inspire major discussions during this week's summit. ABC's Selena Wang is outside the White House with the latest.
Those Russian strikes have killed more than a dozen people in Kyiv. This deadly attack coming right before that high-stakes NATO summit in Turkey, where President Trump will be meeting with Ukraine's President Zelensky. That attack also coming right after President Trump spoke to Vladimir Putin on July 4th for 90 minutes. And as our European allies fear that President Trump could force an end to this war that favors Russia.
Tens of thousands of Iranians taking to the streets today for a final now goodbye to their former leader. ABC's James Longman with the latest.
Much of the country has closed down, and hundreds of thousands of Iranians have poured into the streets to mourn Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who was killed back in February by the US and Israeli airstrikes that started the war. The coffin of his 14-month-old granddaughter and other family members killed in that attack are also part of the procession. The burial itself will take place Thursday.
The White House putting new focus on the management behind the Smithsonian, ABC's Sophie Flay.
The Trump administration accuses the leaders of the Smithsonian of being radical activists. The report, released by the White House Domestic Policy Council, claims the Smithsonian cannot be trusted to tell America's story honestly, adding the leadership has moved the museum's mission away from straightforward historical education and scholarship toward an extreme political activism that seeks to transform our country.
A controversial decision ahead of the U.S. World Cup match tonight against Belgium. President Trump intervenes on behalf of American star forward Flo Balogun. FIFA announced it is lifting the one-match ban handed to Balogun, essentially changing the punishment to a warning. ABC's Cristiani Cordero.
FIFA has not shared any details about how it came to its decision, but sources tell ABC News President Trump called FIFA's president Gianni Infantino last week, urging him to review the matter. Soon after it was made public, Trump wrote, "Thank you" to FIFA on social media. Belgium's Football Association says it is astonished, alleging FIFA is in contradiction with its own rules and vowing to investigate options, quote, to protect the fundamental principles of fair play in our sport.
Let's take a look at that other side. How good is Belgium? They are very good. Here is Ty Keogh, former member of the United States men's national team, speaking on KMOX.
Well, he's certainly...
as far as Belgium goes, they've got some of their old horses. Thibaut Courtois, he plays for Real Madrid. He's their goalkeeper. He's dynamite. He's still one of the top 3 or 4 goalkeepers in the world, in my opinion. Kevin De Bruyne, who was their golden boy for years, is now 35 years old. So I think that's to our advantage. Lukaku is always dangerous as target player, either off the bench or starting. He's just such a mountain of a man. They have their weapons, and Doku is their best weapon. He wears number 11. He's their right winger. Tim Ream is going to be up against that to some degree. Doku, every time he gets the ball, can beat 1 or 2 players. He's just devastating. So he plays for Man City. So it's the real deal. And it's when you get to the stage of the tournament, this is the kind of matchups you see, and those are the kind of matchups that determine the outcome.
It is going to be a 7:00 start tonight in Seattle. Here's Ream on the matchup.
We have to go and just play our game. We have to put in the same type of performance that we've been putting in, and if we do that, then we give ourselves the best opportunity to move on.
Last night, just an epic at the Azteca.
Bukayo Saka takes on Gallardo and crosses free header 1-0. England lead. Jude Bellingham in the Azteca. Mexico have been the better team. England strike first. Big 5 or 10 minutes on the cards here for Mexico. It's played on to Harry Kane, who crosses and Bellingham's there again. And England lead 2-0. And in the blink of an eye, the game's getting away from Mexico. It's the left foot of Alvarado into the danger area. There's the shot, they've got one back. It's Quinones. It's liftoff in the Azteca.
And that's all in the first half. England scoring twice, Mexico answering, and then a red card puts England down a man for the rest of the match. The teams traded penalties in the second half, and as it turned out, England makes it through. An incredible game. Final score was 3-2. They advance to play Norway in the quarterfinals.
That big smile says it all. Just what sort of result is that to come here against this opposition in this stadium at this altitude?
I mean, it's probably one of the biggest England wins in a while. Probably the biggest one I can remember as a fan or player. The best night of my England career, our England career, probably.
That's Jude Bellingham, who had those 2 goals early. England defeats Mexico and moves on. Norway beat Brazil yesterday. Portugal and Spain today. I mean, this World Cup has just been amazing, and it reaches today's incredible 2 games. The Cardinals will play tonight at home against the Brewers. 6:45 start here on KMOX. Cards dropped the final game of their 3-game series at Wrigley 6-4, but they take both games in Atlanta and the first 2 in Chicago to win the series. 2 out of 3 in Atlanta, 2 out of 3 at Wrigley. Jordan Walker named an all-star. It was just a great weekend. But where's J.J. Weatherholt? Why is he not on this National League All-Star squad? Here's Chaim Bloom.
Yeah. Well, he certainly has done enough and shown enough to deserve that spot. We know this is how it works, that not everybody who deserves it gets it. And we're obviously biased towards our own guys. But look, I'm going to look at this and say, hey, this is a great thing that, to this point, obviously we only have one player in the game that could change. You know, there's always those types of things that can happen. And hopefully, we've got a couple guys that are in consideration if spots do open up. But the fact that we're talking about this, the fact that there's different guys in that clubhouse you can point to and feel that way about, I think that's a credit to what's going on here, a credit to them. And, for JJ also just remarkable to do this as a rookie.
Yes, there's no doubt. He's not only having a rookie of the year type season, he's one of the best second basemen in baseball right now, both offensively and defensively. Parlay of the day sponsored by Circus Sports, sports betting the way it should be. Keep an eye on Spain to win it all. They got to get by Portugal today, but I'm telling you, in terms of value on the Circus Sports app, that's where I would go. I think France is not as good enough of a value right now. They are the favorite, pretty much everybody. The United States at plus 1,800 last check seems like still could be a tough hill to climb to win the whole thing, but no, I wouldn't count them out. I'd go with Pulisic to score the first goal tonight. Parlay of the day sponsored by Circus Sports, sports betting the way it should be.
America is turning 250 this year, and Circus Sports is celebrating by offering all users in Missouri $250. For everyone in Missouri, all you have to do is deposit $250 on your Circus Sports app, then play through that deposit. Once you do, Circus Sports will reward you with $250 right in your account. This is available for everyone in Missouri, new and existing users. Celebrate 250 years and find out more at circusports.com today. Must be 21 or older and in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I love days like these at the pool, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. I'm ready to make a splash with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza. Skyrizi is a prescription-only injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. At 4 months, most people saw 90% clearer skin when measured from head to toe, and many were even 100% plaque-free. People also saw significant improvement in psoriasis symptoms of pain, redness, itching, and burning.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Now there's nothing on my skin thanks to Skyrizi, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZI to learn more.
Get ready for a night back with legendary hits and non-stop energy. Brian Adams is bringing the Roll with a Bunches tour to Enterprise Center Friday, July 24th.
Hello, this is Brian Adams.
Sing along to the classics as Brian Adams delivers an unforgettable night of rock anthems. Plus, special guests Pat Benatar and Neil Girardo. Brian Adams, July 24th. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM KMOX. Total Information AM. The news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 7:52. Time now to check our morning rush hour with Roger Brand and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, we're still rushing along, Brian, for the most part. 270 is the bulk of the volume, and it's all just basically slow. North 270 from, I guess we'll call it north of Big Bend up to Manchester is slow, and South 270 approaching Olive down to Ladue is busy. South 170, there's a little volume between Delmar and Ladue. Eastbound 64 at the 170 exits, just a little slow there in Richmond Heights. And then downtown, we've got a little bit of a backup on eastbound Highway 44. It's backed up as you approach the Poplar, so it's past Park Avenue before you start to see the delays coming into downtown, and it may just be that exit's backing up again. We've had that exit issue at Laclede's Landing there. So I'm trying to see if that is indeed the case. But the other day we had, I don't know if it was signal short cycling or what it was that was causing the delays, but you may encounter those because, like I said, it is backed up at that point, but that's the only backup we have on the highways. Next update is 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
AccuWeather's Heather Zaire says thunderstorm in spots this afternoon, otherwise sunny, high 86. Tonight, clear, low 72. It's going to be humid really all week, a high 86 tomorrow, 89 Wednesday with a chance of a spotty thunderstorm in the afternoon. Currently 73 downtown.
The news continues at 7:53. The Trump administration spent $16 million to renovate the reflecting pool on the National Mall. Those renovations included repainting it to make the water American flag blue. Within days, the water turned green with algae and chunks of that freshly painted bottom peeled away, floating to the surface. President Trump blamed vandals for the immediate deterioration.
During press briefings, Trump said those vandals put a big gash, a 350-foot-long gash, the length of the reflecting pool. On ABC's This Week with George Stephanopoulos, here's U.S. Secretary of the Interior Doug Burgum explaining that repairs are underway.
This has got 2.5 miles of expansion joints. It is 8-acre pond. It has been a challenge, but now with the industrial liner, it's not paint. With the industrial liner that's gone in, the reflecting pool is not leaking.
All bark and no bite. That's what some government watchdogs say the Supreme Court has done to them as it closed out this term and increased the powers of the executive branch. Here's ABC senior political correspondent Rachel Scott.
In a remarkable expansion of executive powers, the court ruling Monday 6-3 that President Trump can fire officials from independent regulatory agencies for any reason or no reason at all. The court's conservatives rolling back almost a century of legal precedent, giving the president direct control over the leadership of more than 24 agencies, including some created by Congress to serve as bipartisan government watchdogs.
Virginia will have cameras in pedestrian crosswalks and at stop signs. State Senator Angela Williams-Graves, who represents most of Norfolk, told ABC News the increase in pedestrians injured or killed by drivers who were not following the law, either by speeding, failing to yield to pedestrians, or were distracted, was just too much. She explained her legislation does not mean a bot will decide the punishment.
The footage has to be reviewed and it has to be signed off on by a sworn police officer who is trained in the rules of the road. It enhances the ability of policing.
Violators can expect to pay a fine. The law went into effect July 1st, allowing towns and municipalities to install them if the localities choose to do so.
Ongoing debate over tax hikes targeting the rich that supporters say will help working families and fund low-cost childcare. Critics of Washington State's so-called millionaires tax say it's driving people out of state and opposed by the very people it's meant to help. ABC News Radio spoke to conservative activist Brian Haywood, who collected and brought signatures to the Secretary of State's office in Washington State late last week, all to repeal the tax.
The very hint of the tax has led to a massive exodus. Well, when I say massive, a very large exodus of people with the income and the ability to just make the move now.
It's 7:56. Traffic next.
You feel it every time you check out. Prices up, paychecks stretched, families squeezed. That's why Ann Wagner's fighting to get government off your back and out of your way. Wagner passed the largest tax cut in American history, expanded child tax credits, ended taxes on tips, overtime, and Social Security. And Wagner is working to lower costs so families keep more of their hard-earned money. But Ann Wagner knows delivering for Missouri means more than just protecting their wallets. It means protecting our streets as well. That's why Wagner fought to secure our border, deport dangerous illegal aliens, partner with law enforcement, and put predators behind bars and off our streets so our neighborhoods and communities stay safe. Because real effective leadership protects what matters most: your money, your family, your safety. Ann Wagner for Congress.
I'm Ann Wagner, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Ann Wagner for Congress.
New Gain Plus with Oxy makes your laundry smell incredible and fights stubborn smells, like the ones your dog Biscuit brought into your freshly made bed last night. But you wash that all away with Gain. And now you're drifting asleep to the scent and sound of waves. Ah, no, that's the dog licking your ear.
Biscuit.
It just might be our greatest scent ever. Now with odor fighting power. New Game Plus with Oxy.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Giddy up! It's the Cardinal Cowboy. Don't let garage door problems bench your summer plans. From repairs, tune-ups, and replacements, Renner Garage Door hits a grand slam every time. Score a free repair or replacement quote today, plus $100 off a new garage door. Featuring trusted brands like Feldman, Amar, and LiftMaster. Renner delivers the quality, reliability, and performance your home can count on. RennerDoorSTL.com. Forward and back.
RENNER, RENNER.
All right, Roger Brand, the big party downtown is over. It's time to get back to work. What's going on out there? Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we have that backup downtown, Tom, on eastbound 44 coming in past Poplar, so east of Park and through that downtown, that Laclede's Landing, Washington exit. I don't believe, the restrictions are up further north, up past Convention, Broadway, Biddle area, where we had that big the water main break issue weeks past. But there's a backup getting off there right now, just like we saw at the end of last week. So just be careful. There's debris reported on the ramp from Big Bend getting onto eastbound 44 over in the Kirkwood area. I don't see it, but I also don't see any delays, thankfully. North 270's thinned out. That run up from Big Bend through Manchester is all back to normal for now anyway. South 270, though, still a little slow. Olive down to Ladue. Eastbound 64, there's a little heavy traffic right at the North 170 ramp. And eastbound Highway 30, just a short backup at Weber Hill. That looks better. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
I'm Brian Clark. After a weekend of celebrating the nation's 250th birthday, President Trump leaves Washington later today. He'll meet with allies at a potentially contentious summit.
President Trump leaves for the high-stakes NATO summit in Turkey, where he'll meet with world leaders on the wars in Iran and Ukraine. It comes as President Trump has been blasting our allies for not spending enough on their own defense and for refusing to get involved in the war in Iran.
That's ABC's Selena Wang. Overnight, Ukraine was hammered by another barrage of Russian missiles and drones. At least 18 people were killed, including 12 in the capital, Kyiv. Right now in Iran, threats against the president during the funeral procession for Iran's supreme leader who was killed in a strike on the opening day of the war. And the president apparently played a part in the World Cup, as sources say he called FIFA's president over the red card given to USA star Folarin Balogun. FIFA lifted his one-game suspension. This is ABC News. The sheriff's office in Wayne County, Ohio, says an officer was among 3 people killed in a shooting while responding to a call for shots fired. The Wayne County sheriff said officers who responded immediately began taking fire. 2 other officers were injured. The suspect was killed. A group of proclaimed white nationalists with Confederate flags marched through Washington, D.C. during the weekend's July 4th celebrations. Now a member of the president's cabinet's responding, says ABC's Karen Waugh.
Hundreds of people participated in the march, covering their faces and wearing hats featuring the logo of the Patriot Front. The group was heard chanting the words, "Reclaim America." When President Trump's Interior Secretary Doug Burgum was asked about the march, he cited the First Amendment. Now, the Anti-Defamation League says the Patriot Front is responsible for most of the white supremacist propaganda distributed in the U.S.
I'm Brian Clark, ABC News.
At 8:02, we have sunny skies, 73 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch. Ackerman, Missouri officials say it may take until the end of the day tomorrow before all service is restored from Saturday's thunderstorm-related outages. Crews have been repairing significant damage to poles, wires, and other equipment. As of this morning, power had been restored to 1.2 million Ackerman, Missouri customers, Officials say substantial work remains and they're grateful for any patience. The St. Louis Fire Department responded to 603 incidents between 8 a.m. on July 4th and 8 a.m. on July 5th. Firefighters dealt with 68 fires, including 41 dumpster fires, 10 rubbish fires, 8 building or garage fires, and 7 vehicle fires. While that may sound like a lot, it's actually 72 less than last year. Mother Nature made her presence felt on the 4th of July.
Rounds of heavy thunderstorms hit the bi-state Saturday afternoon, producing heavy downpours and wind gusts. That wind caused 2 tractor trailers to overturn in the westbound lanes of the Stan Musial Veterans Memorial Bridge. It also snapped tree branches, brought down power lines, and even uprooted some trees around the region. As for the rain, it caused America's birthday party to be canceled in downtown St. Louis and soaked the fireworks supply in Bridgeton. The communities of Florissant and Hazelwood decided to hold off on their fireworks displays, postponing one night from Saturday to Sunday. Brad Choate, KMOX News.
St. Louis City Police say their enhanced curfew enforcement in the downtown and downtown west areas resulted in 41 juveniles being detained Saturday night into the early morning hours Sunday. 8 of them carrying fireworks, all taken to a reunification center for parents to claim them. Police say 30 of them did not live in the city. Police say they also interrupted the potential for a significant street takeover Saturday night in the Wilmore Park area of St. Louis. 9 adults arrested, 4 juveniles taken to the reunification center for their parents to be cited. Police say they seized 9 cars and 2 guns. Investigators say they uncovered a plot for violent acts against officers and cash rewards offered for people who could block responding police units. Coming up at 8:41 this morning, I'm going to be speaking with Mitch McCoy of the police department to get a roundup of all of those events over the weekend. The High Court set to take up a highly debated local safety measure.
As the assault weapons ban in Illinois heads toward a Supreme Court fight, Governor J.B. Pritzker is defending the law by pointing to the 2022 mass shooting at a 4th of July parade in Highland Park outside Chicago, where a gunman killed 7 people and wounded dozens more using a high-capacity rifle.
That is what we're doing. The rights of people to go to a 4th of July parade and be safe and not have 48 people shot in with more than 60 bullets per second issued by a weapon that shouldn't be available to the public.
Pritzker says he supports the Second Amendment, but argues nobody needs a weapon capable of firing that many rounds per second. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
2 teenagers were shot by a police officer in North County last night. It happened around 10:15 at a party near Bell Fountain Road where more than 100 teens were gathered. County police told Fox 2 the officers fired on a vehicle full of juveniles, hitting 2 and a third being injured, possibly from debris. All 3 teens being treated for non-life-threatening injuries. 9 more taken into custody. 2 people are dead, 2 others injured after a shooting at a Metrolink station. County police say the shooting happened just before midnight last night at the North Hanley Metrolink station. 1 victim died on the scene, another at the hospital. 2 others being treated for non-life-threatening injuries. County police say it started as a dispute and then a suspect opened fire. There are no suspects in custody at this time. If you're booking a flight in August, you may be surprised at the cost. Instead of going up, KMOX travel expert Peter Greenberg says airfares for August are down 6% compared to last year, and there's more.
Perhaps the biggest surprise is in the area of frequent flyer award redemption. We're seeing a lot of now available seats for frequent flyers who've added up all those miles at discounted levels.
Greenberg adds there's no assurance yet they will be the same availability in September. The average gas price in St. Louis, $3.63 a gallon today. According to Gas Buddy, that's almost 43 cents cheaper than a month ago. It's still nearly 71 cents higher than a year ago. Prices in the region lower than the national average, which is $3.71 for a gallon of regular unleaded today. It's now 8:07. Coming up on Total Information AM, we're going to take you back to 150 years of Forest Park. Debbie Monterey previews a new book. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News correspondent, is going to join me at 8:24 to talk about President Trump's trip to Turkey for the NATO summit. And then coming up at 8:41, we're going to talk with the St. Louis City Police Department about some of those enforcement actions that we just heard of, both the teen curfew and the street takeover. So stay with us this morning. Traffic and weather in 2 minutes.
If you've been told that you need a new heating and cooling system for your home, and if you've gotten prices or you're going to get prices, call me. Try to stay away from the word high efficiency or efficiency. If you replace your system now and it's 12, 15, or 20 years old, you are greatly improving the efficiency just by replacing the old inefficient unit. Do not be fooled. If you want a common sense approach and you just want your house cooled, I will help you. If you're good with that, call me. One easy number. It's Missouri and Illinois. The easiest of numbers, 314-293-2600, or on the internet, bartinman.com. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
Things in Washington, D.C. may seem unsettled at times by their lack of progress. But one department in the U.S. government is progressing. That is the IRS. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. The IRS is in full function to collect on unpaid taxes. If you've been putting off a tax problem, it's time to call the Lance Story Law Firm and get it resolved. Don't think the government is too busy to focus on my issues. Too many of my clients thought the same. So if you owe back taxes or haven't filed returns in years, it's time to call the Lance Story Law Firm and finally resolve your tax issues. Remember, if you have tax problems, you have legal problems. Call the Lance Story Law Firm. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Or call 314-260-6120 or visit landstorylaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Let's see how the roads are this Monday morning. Roger Brand has the latest from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, they look great, Megan. They've been looking great all morning long, really. It's a Monday, which tends to be light. It's after a holiday weekend, so probably even lighter because of that, and just isn't much going on out there. The only place we've had a backup recently, and it's still there, is downtown, eastbound 44, east of Park, past the Poplar, up to that Washington-Laclede's Landing exit jammed again. It's only been the last few days, like last week, before the fourth holiday, where we started to see this. So, I don't believe it's related to the Broadway and Biddle where we had the huge sinkhole problem, because that's further north than this exit. But the exit is backed up. It may just be restrictions on the downtown streets and additional traffic once you get on them. Other than that, northbound 270, just a little busy in the right lanes around Clayton Road, eastbound 64 at the 170 exit. Looks a little slow, but the rest of these highways remain good to go, and they have all morning long. Still don't see any delays on North 255 at 64. Or 159 at 64. They're scheduled to be doing roadwork projects that started today that'll last, the 255 one for a couple of weeks, the 159 at 64 for a few months. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather. Today will be partly sunny. There'll be a spotty thunderstorm this afternoon with a high of 86. Then we're clear to partly cloudy and rather humid with a low of 72 tonight. A spotty afternoon thunderstorm again for both tomorrow and Wednesday. We'll have some sun each day as well with a high of 86 tomorrow, 89 Wednesday. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zaire on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Looks like cloudy skies right now, 73 degrees downtown at the Arch. You're listening to Total Information AM here on 104.1 FM KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch, and here's Debbie Monterey.
Well, it's the best park in the United States of America, but we already knew that. It is, of course, Forest Park, St. Louis's gathering place since 1876. That is actually the title of the new book by Amanda Doyle and Cameron Collins, and it is gorgeous. Cameron and Amanda, welcome to KMOX.
Thank you so much. It is pretty gorgeous, isn't it?
Thank you.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, if you even like Forest Park just a little bit, you will love this book because it is just chock full of pictures, color, black and white drawings. I mean, it goes all the way from the very beginning until current times. So let me start at the beginning, because a lot of people think about Forest Park in relation to the World's Fair, because that's really when it became the epicenter, but it was around before then. So how did we start Forest Park?
This is really one of my favorite parts of the entire story. Is this fella named Hiram Leffingwell had this bold vision for St. Louis to have a giant park. Of course, St. Louis at that time, in the 1850s, 60s, 70s, St. Louis was in the top 5, metropolitan cities in the United States. And we wanted to keep up with the Joneses. We wanted to keep up with the Philadelphias and the New Yorks. And he envisioned a large public space. And one of my favorite facts is today, Amanda, what is our acreage of Forest Park?
1,371 acres.
Yep. And we have to say it's bigger than Central Park, of course. But Hiram actually envisioned a space of 3,000 acres that would eventually become Forest Park, but it would have been a heck of a lot bigger if he had his wish.
Wow. And I imagine the name came because it was actually a forest. I imagine that was way out there.
It was way out there, and people were not happy about that. And also, this is actually something I just learned recently. We don't know where the name Forest Park came from. It's obviously it was named probably because of the dense woodland, but there is no record of who actually came up with the name or how they decided or how they settled on
Yeah,
it.
all of the original stuff, I'm thinking about it now, called it, a Central Park.
Mhm.
Like that was, so it's kind of funny that we're not Central Park. But yeah, it took an act in the Missouri State Legislature to create the park. And the same time that they created Forest Park, which was sort of the agreed upon massive park, O'Fallon Park on the north side and Carondelet Park on the south side came into existence with the same legislation. So they were going for it all at once. By the time they got everyone to finally agree and allow access to the land that people owned land near, they just went big and put all 3 parks together at once.
We are very fortunate in the St. Louis area with parks because there are other cities that have nowhere near the amount of park space that we have here.
Oh, people come here from other places and it's like something they comment on, like how green it is, how many trees, how many parks, just within walking access of every neighborhood I can think of in the city.
I once had a little personal goal of visiting every single St. Louis park, and I think there's 85 or 84 parks.
How far did you make it?
I got up to the 50s.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
pretty good.
yeah.
They are in the process, or maybe they've already finished, but over the last, say, 5-10 years, they've been doing a lot of stuff with connecting the waterways and resurfacing some. But let's talk about the River de Pear. Is there a real story? I mean, I'm sure some of it lies in myth, but what's up with the River de Pear?
Well, when the land that became Forest Park was not the park, there was a little stream there, and it was bucolic. I believe we can correctly describe it. It tinkled along and was great. As the city developed and grew more and more towards what was then like bananas out of the way area, the water started getting not great because people were using it for everything that people use water for even now, getting rid of stuff they don't want to see because the water will take it away. So by the time the park was developed, it had become a problem. And especially, you mentioned the World's Fair. The park was not built for the fair, but it became clear that's where it was going to be. So in the lead up to the World's Fair, the decision was made to underground as much of that went through the proposed fairgrounds as possible, because it was not the face we wanted to put forward to the world of a stinky,
It stank.
chunky
Yeah.
kind of waterway. So a lot of it was run underground. And then later on in the early 1900s, there was a massive project to get the rest of it out of the way. And by then it was called the Foul Water Sewer was the name of the project.
Oh, yay.
Appealing. But there are some great photos like in the History Museum archives of the infrastructure project that was putting a river underground. They had to build these massive wooden channels, and then later they turned them into cement, I guess. But yeah, so the work of bringing all that back and restoring it to a natural state and giving it like that bucolic feel again, probably twice as massive as the work of putting it underground in the first place.
We were celebrating the news that the St. Louis Zoo is once again the #1 free attraction in the United States from USA Today 10 Best. But at one point, the zoo was at Fairground Park, but there were bear pits at Forest Park. I did not know about the bear pits. And what does that even mean, a bear pit?
What does that even mean, a bear pit? Well, we didn't always have the outlook on animal welfare and care and display that we have today. So there were animals at Fairgrounds Park. It was, I'm going to get the exact name wrong, but it was called the Mechanical and Agricultural Exposition, something like that. And part of this was sort of animal husbandry. So fast forwarding a little bit, when the zoo actually opened, the animals that were in Fairgrounds Park got brought down to the zoo in Forest Park. And one of my favorite stories that I found in the archives was They brought a couple of smaller animals, but there was a camel named Clint who was walked from Fairgrounds Park to Forest Park because they, I guess, couldn't figure out another way to transport it. Or maybe that was a great spectacle. I don't know.
Clint the camel.
Clint the camel. I mean, I feel like he is ripe for a children's series
Yes.
or something. But
It's
yeah,
your next book.
The bear pits were a feature of Forest Park that was nationally known. I think it was like the way they were sort of these naturalistic outcroppings of rocks that were human made, of course. So
Cameron, in putting this book together with Amanda, was there anything that surprised you? Anything that you learned that made you go, wow?
Well, I already mentioned the 3,000 acre, but one of the things I've been investigating lately is, and I knew this, but the footprint of the World's Fair, I just had always kind of heard like, oh, the World's Fair was in Forest Park. And the more I look at it, it was in Forest Park, but it was also really on the grounds of where Washington University is now and the surrounding neighborhoods. For example, like the Pike, the big amusement entertainment area of the World's Fair, that was located north of Lindell Boulevard, where all those big fancy houses are now. So those, and like the Philippine village that we talk about in the book, which is kind of the dark side of the World's Fair, that was way off to the west in the DeMun neighborhood. So it's just been really surprising that, that sometimes the stories you hear don't line up. And really the other thing that fascinated me is that the fair was on the western side of the park. In the eastern half, like really anything east of the zoo was left as public space for people to go to the park without having to mingle with 20 million people.
Yeah, if people go to the World's Fair exhibit at the Missouri History Museum, there's an amazing display that shows exactly that. You're like, I didn't realize it was all over Washington University. That's interesting. Well, this book is absolutely beautiful, and we could tell stories all day, but you should just pick it up instead. Forest Park, St. Louis's gathering place since 1876. Amanda Doyle and Cameron Collins, great job.
Thank you so much.
And happy birthday to Forest Park, the #1 park in America.
8:20. Let's see how things are moving on the roads. It was quiet the last time we spoke with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good for pretty much everybody, Megan. This traffic reports the service of the U.S. Air Force Band of Mid-America 4th of July concert series. The only place I'm seeing a backup is still downtown on eastbound 44 as you approach the Poplar Street Bridge in through to that Washington-Lacletes Landing exit. The exit's still backed up, so just be prepared. It's bumper to bumper, primarily the right lane, obviously, as you get through that stretch. Otherwise, the rest of the interstates look great. On the Illinois side, I don't see any delays, even in the work zones. We're talking about 64 through the Fairview Heights area, 5570 between 255 and 203. Eastbound 64 is just a little slow approaching McKnight, but out west, eastbound 64, southbound 61, eastbound 70 coming in from Wentzville. 270 is clear both ways around Ladue. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And checking that forecast for today, partly sunny. We could see a thunderstorm in spots this afternoon, a high of 86. Clear to partly cloudy tonight, humid, a low of 72. Right now, cloudy skies, 73 downtown at the Arch. Stay with us. I'll be speaking with Stephen Portnoy, ABC News national correspondent, about President Trump's travels to Turkey for the NATO summit.
Freedom 250. Join the U.S. Air Force Band of Mid-America July 1st through July 7th across St. Louis as we celebrate America's 250-year legacy with free concerts. No tickets required. Details at afbandtix.org. That's afbandtix.org.
Working as a dedicated Fidelity advisor, I always ask, what's important to you? I'll look at those priorities and goals alongside your full financial picture to build a comprehensive plan designed to help grow and protect your wealth. With proactive portfolio insights and an eye on taxes, I'm here to help you make the most of your money. I'm Laura Maxwell, and I'm a dedicated Fidelity advisor. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term.
Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have a health reminder from the CDC.
Pneumococcal vaccination is recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose, and millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
President Trump travels to a NATO summit in Turkey this week. Let's get more from ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy. Stephen, I know the president has threatened to leave NATO on multiple occasions and said Europe needs to step up funding. What are you expecting out of these meetings?
Well, the president has said that he wouldn't even be attending this summit were it not being hosted by his friend Recep Tayyip Erdogan, the president of Turkey. The president is going to continue pressing European leaders to spend more of their own money on defense. He is considering a further drawdown of U.S. troops based in Europe. The whole idea, as aides describe it, is burden shifting, getting Europe to step up more and not only spend more of its own money, but also put more of its own people into its own defense. The president in Ankara is also going to meet with Ukraine's president, Volodymyr Zelensky, following last night's massive onslaught by Russia on the eve of this summit into Ukraine, killing as many as 14 people. The Ukrainian leaders are going to ask for more Patriot missile interceptors to fend off Russian attacks. And it's interesting because Ukraine has been on the march. They've, held their ground, retaken some territory. And the question is, what exactly did President Trump discuss over 90 minutes over the weekend with Vladimir Putin? The president has been cast by advisors as a mediator in an effort to end this 4.5-year-long war between Russia and Ukraine. Perhaps this week will lead to some major developments or not. We'll see.
It seems like there's discussion, too, as well about the mutual defense clause for NATO and whether the U.S. would honor it if Russia spreads this beyond Kyiv and Ukraine.
Well, certainly the idea of Russia expanding the war beyond Ukraine is something that's been hanging over the NATO alliance for the last 4.5 years. And I remember when President Biden said, if you 1 inch into NATO territory, well, then, and I think that under President Trump, that pledge would hold, but Putin hasn't put it to the test. Ultimately, the president has said that he expects loyalty from the NATO alliance, not just, commitment to the mutual defense pledge. He's been angry and has aired this anger that the NATO partners didn't do more in the joint U.S.-Israeli effort against Iran earlier this year. I say do more. They didn't do anything. And so the idea is the president has his beef, I suppose, with NATO and with particular NATO leaders. I mean, there was this spat recently, but with the president and the prime minister of Italy over whether, in fact, Giorgia Meloni begged President Trump for a photograph at the G7 summit some weeks ago. President Trump said on an Italian television network that Meloni begged for that. Giorgia Meloni went on social media to say that the president is lying about it and that she and her country would never beg for anything. So there's some tension here.
All right, Stephen, thanks for setting the stage for us for this week.
You bet.
That's ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy on the Quiver River Electric Gas Line. It's now 8:27, and this time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Banner Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is Who do you hire? At Banner, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call 314-569-1050 or visit bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
And Doug.
Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons, and lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen, and oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live, and you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty. $5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for buying gas. That's right. You can earn cash back with Upside just for buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside, and just last year, I made nearly $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get cash back? If you like extra cash, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back when you fill your tank. Use promo code FRESH to get an extra 35 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus.
Guys, Kevin Wheeler here for FanDuel Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of KMOX. And I like to joke, and I say it all the time, like my work with FanDuel Sportsbook goes well beyond the time that it came online in Missouri. I used to have to travel to play. Not anymore. Now I get to play at home, and you can too, whether it's baseball season, whether it's hockey, basketball, football, and now soccer. On the biggest stage of the world, FanDuel is stepping up. They are changing the game because sometimes the player you've got gets subbed off and your bet goes off with them, but not anymore. With FanDuel Super Sub, if your player is subbed out, your bet stays in. So that's right. So if your player leaves the match, your bet continues on with the substitute. So you're still in it to the final whistle. No need to go anywhere. You just hang in there. You still got your shot. But visit FanDuel.com/Missouri to get yourself started. Super easy to do. And let there be goals this summer on FanDuel. Just remember, you have to be 21 or older and present in Missouri. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
8:30, we head back to the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center. Roger Brand, what's happening out there?
Well, not too much right now, Megan. This traffic report's a service of Ricken Financial. We do have that traffic slow downtown still. Eastbound to 44, approaching the Poplar up to that Washington Lacletes Landing exit. Like I said, after you get into the arch grounds there, it's really just that right exit lane that's backed up. There's still a little congestion there. Other than that, the rest of the interstates right now are looking good. There's a little bit of a slowdown on southbound or westbound 255 just past Route 3 Columbia. Again, they're starting new roadwork projects northbound 255 at 64. They have lane restrictions in place there now through June 17th, and 159 at 64 down to one lane each way. And that'll be into the fall until they get that project wrapped up. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Join Jerry Ricken and Heidi Ricken Provost for Kickin' with the Rickens, Redefining Retirement, every Saturday at 3 p.m. right here on KMOX. And get more, including the Kickin' with the Rickens podcast, when you visit RickenFinancial.com.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, partly sunny, thunderstorm in spots this afternoon, a high of 86. Right now, we do see a little bit of sunshine, 73 degrees downtown at the Arch. It's now 8:31. It's getting harder and harder to know what's real and what's fake online. Hani Farid is a digital forensics expert and professor at UC Berkeley School of Information. He says AI fakes can touch everyone in every part of life.
AI-generated fake content is now everywhere. Just being able to report the news to consumers around the world has gotten very difficult. The courts, of course, are wrestling with when you bring digital evidence into a court of law, is that really a recording of somebody doing or saying something? So how do you introduce digital evidence into a court of law and trust it? Individuals, every day we are online looking at content. How do we know what's real and what's not? Enterprise, Fortune 500 companies are dealing with this every day. They are interviewing people for jobs. It's not who they say they are. They're getting calls from their CEOs telling them to transfer money. It is not their CEOs. And suddenly our ability to distinguish real from fake is getting really, really, really hard.
So, how can we separate what's real from what's fake?
They can't. It's over. And I will tell you, it's not just me saying it's over. We run perceptual studies in my lab. We show people content in the most unemotional, controlled setting imaginable, and they are essentially at chance. And now stick them into this highly polarized, highly emotional, highly sensational social media doom scrolling. The average person cannot reliably tell the difference between what's real and what's fake online.
Fareed says we may not like it, but there is a simple solution.
If you are getting your primary source of information is social media, you have to stop. It's not what it was designed for. It's not what it's good for. So if you are tired of being lied to and being scammed and defrauded, I have a really easy solution for you. It's not help you figure out what's real and what's fake. It's get the hell off of social media.
And one AI scam, fake phone calls that spoof the voice of your loved ones, has an easier fix.
There's a really low-tech solution, particularly with your family. So one of the scams we've been seeing is people getting phone calls from what they think is their loved ones. It's a scam. They're going to get scammed out of either a few thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. My wife and I have a code word. If I get a phone call from my wife or anyone in my family for that matter, and it's something unusual, I say, what's the code word? This is easy, right? This is an easy fix. This is an analog solution to a digital AI problem.
So should we distrust pretty much everything we see online?
The short answer is no, because that creates a whole nother set of problems. Because then you're going to see things that actually matter. Politicians saying something inappropriate or illegal, police misconduct, human rights violations, and your instinct can't be, well, it's fake. The issue is, where am I reading this? Because when I read this on an organization that has editorial standards, who have ethics and have standards, have consequences for getting it wrong, I have a much higher reason to believe. Just ask yourself, where am I reading this? Who is publishing this? What is their motivation? Are they trying to scam me? Are they trying to get likes? We have to be more critical about what we are reading, but also where are we reading it?
A study from UC Berkeley finds that at least half of all online images are potentially fake. Before 9 o'clock, speaking of fakes, KMOX media expert Julie Smith, she's not the fake. She's going to tell us more about an AI actress. It's now 8:35.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
In the military, the mission was clear. You knew what to do. Now, the mission has changed. Stepping into civilian life isn't about finding a job. It's finding your purpose.
I wanted a career that would leverage the skills and discipline I gained in the military. IT just felt right.
My Computer Career offers class schedules that fit into your life and skills in high demand. Put your VA benefits to work. Visit mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to jumpstart your IT career today. An Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Your Money Report now, sponsored by Eamon Gattner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Courtney Donahoe.
Airports are trying to find their zen. To help soothe the spirits of the roughly 5 billion people who take a commercial flight every year, designers and architectural firms are increasingly deploying a range of tactics at airports, from noise-muffling carpets to natural lighting to calming colors, art installations, indoor plants, and sensory rooms for overstimulated passengers. And Hyundai took advantage of the World Cup to show off its Atlas humanoid robot yesterday, having it perform some signature celebrations and hand the game ball to the referee in the Brazil-Norway match. Hyundai plans to manufacture as many as 30,000 humanoids annually in the U.S. starting in 2028, primarily for use at its auto plants. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Hey, it's Tom Ackerman. Let me put this in simple terms. You can't put your estate planning documents in a drawer and forget about them. That doesn't help your family when it matters most. My family has trusted the Lederman Law Firm here in St. Louis with our estate planning for over 20 years. And what sets them apart is they don't treat estate planning like a one-and-done thing. They treat it like what it really is, a living, breathing plan. They build your plan to protect your family, your assets, and your wishes. And then for a fixed annual fee, they help keep it updated as your life changes, because it will. Families need change, assets change, the law changes. And because of this, many people don't realize how many plans out there are still outdated until it's too late. The Laterman Law Firm, an annual process they offer to help keep our plan up to date with changes over time, and they can do the same for you. 314-514-9100, LatermanLaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
Now there's a new way to take charge of your blood sugar. Introducing new Garlic Healthy Blood Sugar Formula from the makers of the nation's best-selling garlic supplement. New Garlic helps maintain healthy blood sugar levels with clinically supported levels of garlic, plus a custom blend of vitamins and minerals, and it's odor-free. Take charge of your blood sugar with new Garlic Healthy Blood Sugar Formula. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
When pain starts to slow you down, BJC Healthcare and WashU Medicine orthopedic specialists are here to help. Nationally recognized leaders in orthopedics deliver care that's informed by research and personalized for you. From everyday aches to complex injuries and recovery, we're here to help you get back to doing what you love. Find an orthopedic specialist today. Visit bjc.org/orthopedics or call 314-362-9355.
Celebrate the month of July with Zero Res and get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $129. Get your air ducts cleaned for $599 per unit. Book online at ZeroResSTL.com and take advantage of the savings. That's ZeroResSTL.com.
This is 104.1 FM KMOX. Here's what's happening. Tens of thousands of Iranians taking to the streets of Tehran today for the long-awaited funeral procession of their former supreme leader who was killed in the early days of the war. The man accused of killing conservative influencer Charlie Kirk in Utah last September set to appear in front of a judge this week for evidence and testimony. Tyler Robinson still has not entered a plea. Utah is the first state in the nation to allow AI to renew prescriptions for patients. The Doctronic chatbot converses with patients and can send refill orders to their pharmacy. Let's check the roads with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we look great out there right now, Megan. This traffic reports the service of the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. Still have a little bit of a delay downtown, eastbound 44, as you get past the Poplar Street Bridge. Just that exit lane getting off at the Washington Laclede Landing exit's kind of congested the way it's been the past several days. Eastbound Manchester, a little bit of a backup approaching Sulphur Springs as you get into that work zone near 141. Southbound 255 past Route 3 Columbia, just a hint of a slowdown. Doesn't look that bad there. Again, new project started northbound 255 at 64 and 159 at 64. 159's down to 1 lane in each direction now into the fall. I'm Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sandberg Phoenix serves your business in litigation, intellectual property, and products liability. We're more than a law firm. We're committed to your success. Learn more at sandbergphoenix.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
This is the first weekend of a teen curfew in St. Louis. We're going to find out how it went coming up in a moment here on KMOX. First, a check of the forecast. Partly sunny today. A thunderstorm possible in spots this afternoon with a high of 86. Clear to partly cloudy, humid tonight with an overnight low of 72. Right now, sunshine, 73 downtown at the Arch. Last week, the city of St. Louis announced a youth curfew for downtown and downtown west in response to repeated issues. That curfew runs through Labor Day, and this weekend was the first test. Let's get more now. I'm joined by Mitch McCoy, Director of Public Affairs and Information for the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department. Good morning, Mitch.
Hey, good morning, Megan. Thanks for the invite.
Well, we appreciate you coming on this morning. I know there were a couple of different enforcement actions this weekend, the curfew and then a street takeover issue that the police were dealing with. Let's start with the curfew. Where did you see issues with this?
So we asked for a curfew. Mayor Kara Spencer's office granted one, and that curfew was 9 p.m. and it's going to continue for downtown and downtown west until Labor Day. And we saw two individuals, two teens, be transported to our reunification center on July 3rd, and then we saw 41 juveniles taken to the reunification center on July 4th. We do think that it was overwhelmingly a success. The majority of the teens live outside St. Louis City. Only 11 of the teens detained on July 4th actually reside in the city of St. Louis.
Now, when it comes to the teens violating the curfew, were there any other criminal acts other than just violating the curfew?
There were a handful, 7 or 8, that had fireworks with them, and then one was for petty larceny. So this year was a little bit different because that following year we saw a lot of juveniles with guns. That was not overwhelmingly the case this year.
So give us a sense of, were these just singular kids walking down the street, or were these groups of kids that police found?
They may have been with groups that had fireworks with them, but here's the thing. If you come downtown or downtown west, you are with an adult, you are with a guardian, you are with a trusted adult of some kind, you're not going to have issues. Our concern is making sure that when teen takeovers might start happening, there is a tool in the tool belt for our police officers to make sure that we can try and mitigate issues before they arise. And that's exactly what we were doing over the weekend.
So something separate was the street takeover enforcement. I know that police have been watching on social media announcements about this. Detail for us what happened with that.
Yeah, so for a couple of weeks, our intelligence detectives had been monitoring the potential for a street takeover. And Megan, there is a difference between a street takeover and a teen takeover. A teen takeover is where young people gather and organize on social media to meet up at a spot. A street takeover is using cars to do burnouts, to do donuts, to potentially engage in illegal behavior. That is a street takeover, and that you can have some older teens in that street takeover, but what we see is that it is your upper teens and younger adults with a street takeover. And so our intelligence detectives have been monitoring for the potential of a street takeover, a significant one. It had been shared thousands of times. We were gathering intelligence that people from across the country were going to be coalescing on St. Louis to engage in a street takeover. They had been promoting it similar to the 314 day street takeovers, and they wanted it to be bigger and better. And they were offering cash incentives to engage in violence against police officers, and also cash incentives to block responding police officers from interrupting these takeovers. And boy, did they have the entire specialized enforcement of the SLMPD blocking them Saturday night. That's for sure.
So this was in the Wilmore Park area. For people who are not familiar with that area, what streets are we talking about?
Yeah, that's going to be South City, right off of Hampton, near Jameson. And for clarification, we interrupted them in Wilmore Park, but we didn't know where they were going next. They have private communications, and we knew that they were going to be going to other parts of the city. What we were able to do was stop them in their pre-meet location where they can gather, come up with their plans, and figure out, where they want to take over a street. So we were able to stop them in Wilmore Park.
How do the police units show up? What do they look like? What do they have on them? Mm-hmm. How do they try not to escalate a situation like this?
Well, we have to go in tactfully. So I cannot leave out St. Louis City Towing. They were amazing. They played an instrumental part in our operation. We block everyone in the park so nobody can leave and nobody can come in. Our officers are ready with spike strips for any vehicles that are fleeing law enforcement. And because when these vehicles flee, they're posing a significant danger to police officers and to our community, especially at the rate that they can be reckless. So we went in and knowing some of the intelligence, there was a possibility of using fire extinguishers on cops. There was also a possibility of using bricks to assault police officers. So we did have to go in tactfully, and we did, and our officers were able to keep everybody contained inside the park. 9 people were arrested. 4 juveniles were taken to the reunification center. We found 2 guns. One had a switch, which made the gun fully automatic. And we were able to seize 9 vehicles. Some of these vehicles were equipped with camera systems so they could record their illegal behavior over the night.
Well, Mitch, we're out of time. I do appreciate you taking your time this morning to join us with an update on these enforcement actions.
Absolutely, Megan. Thanks so much for your time.
That is Mitch McCoy with the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department. It's now 8:48.
As a fitness coach, my active psoriatic arthritis can slow me down. With Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, I'm treating my skin and joint symptoms so I can keep moving. Skyrizi, a prescription-only injection for adults, helps me move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. And for those who have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible. With Skyrizi, there's no daily dosing. It's just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement. And that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZI to learn more.
After a disaster, emotional recovery takes time. Show Me Hope Missouri is here for you with free confidential support. Counselors help with stress, coping skills, and connect to resources. If the St. Louis tornado impacted you, visit moshowmehope.org from Missouri Department of Mental Health.
The soundtrack of classic rock is coming to Hollywood Casino Amphitheater August 6th. Leonard Skinner and Foreigner joining forces for one epic night of legendary hits and unforgettable memories. It's a double trouble, double vision tour. From Sweet Home Alabama to Cold as Ice. Don't miss your chance to experience these 2 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame acts in one incredible show. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's time for our weekly visit this morning with our KMOX media expert, Julie Smith. She brought an article to my attention done by the New York Times about an AI actress, Tilly Norwood. You may have heard of her. Even before I think she ever acted, in air quotes, in anything, she was under fire. What about this article and about this AI actress caught your attention?
Oh, I think it's so interesting that there are companies now that are creating AI avatars and using them as experiments to see what exactly we can have these avatars do. And, you know, the author of that New York Times piece, her name's Taffy Brodesser-Ackner, she actually said that when she interviewed Tilly, and I'm using air quotes because, you know, you don't even know what words to use when you're chatting with an AI avatar. She said she felt like she was on a Zoom call because it was just on a screen. And she actually said that it freaked her out because she'd interviewed so many celebrities before, and here she was interviewing this avatar that didn't actually exist and having a conversation with her. But Tilly has not been in any movies or films yet. The company that created her says that it was just an experiment. But what I thought was so interesting is the prompts they used to create the avatar. They wanted her pretty but relatable, so not so gorgeous that everyone would, you know, not believe her. Young, thin, charismatic, but low-key charismatic. Some freckles. And they also wanted her to have a posh British accent. So just that in itself, I think, is such an interesting study of the prompts. That they think that this is what people really want. And in the article, they show a bunch of different versions of Tilly before they got one that they really liked. And so, of course, when Tilly was introduced, SAG-AFTRA, the actors union, lost their minds because they feel like these avatars can be hired instead of real people. And they're not wrong. They're not wrong. But Tilly hasn't been hired for anything yet. It's just so weird.
And I guess the question is, when it comes to how they're training this model too, I know SAG-AFTRA, which in full disclosure, I am a member of, raised concerns about, okay, what is she modeled on, or who? Which actors and actresses is she modeled on? That she would just come out of thin air and have these talents.
What's interesting is that this article also recommends that members of SAG-AFTRA, including you, Megan, figure out a way to license your voice and image so that it cannot be used to create avatars, which I thought was kind of an interesting aspect. I hadn't thought of that before.
Now, I'm kind of curious from your perspective of watching the ebb and flow of media over the decades. In some respect, obviously, I get the argument that, we can't allow a technology like this to come in and replace the human beings that are doing this. At the same time, though, as members of this industry, do we need to get with the times? Do we need to realize that we've got to step up and figure out how we're going to deal with this technology other than just
complaining?
Yeah.
Well, right, because it's not going anywhere. The genie's out of the bottle. So how do you live with this new technology as a member of SAG-AFTRA, for example? I think that's why the New York Times suggests making sure that your image and likeness and voice is set up legally as a way that it can't be reproduced, which I think is pretty interesting.
One of the concepts I know that you've talked about on the air here is the uncanny valley.
Yes.
And that feeling that, like, when you're dealing with something that's like a robot that's kind of human-like.
And it's kind of creepy, but kind of not. Right.
You get that ooky feeling.
Right. And Taffy, the author of this piece in the New York Times, actually said that she felt her uncanny valley disappearing talking to Tilly because she was designed so well. And what's so interesting, that humans have been wired for thousands of years to recognize faces. And here is a face that doesn't really exist. It's very similar to like when I had AI photos done of myself. I was looking at the screen thinking, okay, that's my face, but that's not me. It's just so weird. You just never know how things are going to turn out.
I thought what was interesting too was kind of her impression of interacting with this AI. And even though there was some funky things going on, like she said, the head would expand a little bit when it was quote unquote thinking.
Yeah.
And that there was like an unnatural pause before it would respond. But that she found herself, the reporter found herself calling Tilly she, and being flattered when Tilly would give her a compliment, and being a little bristled when Tilly would roast her a little bit.
And there is that magical combination of our humanity and recognizing that we're dealing with technology, right? And she recognized, oh, that compliment really worked on me. Like I'm ashamed that it worked on me. And I think that's an interesting way to look at it, that these chatbots and AI figures are designed to make us feel terrific.
Where do you see this going? I mean, really and truly, could something like this replace the human talent that we have?
I think in some cases it's possible. I know in the piece they referenced telling Tilly, pretend you're in a chase scene and looking over your shoulder being chased, so to see like what kind of expressions I'm using she too. I think it'll be interesting to see how this evolves. But if I was a business owner, I think having an AI spokesperson would be ideal. I could control exactly what they say. They'd be available to me 24/7. They wouldn't cause any weird problems outside of the studio. And they'd be a lot cheaper than hiring a professional. So I can see that there are commercial uses for this down the road for sure.
That is KMOX media expert Julie Smith. She joins us every Monday morning here on Total Information AM.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Health Trends, sponsored by Ethos.
Emotions can be contagious. Research from the University of Montreal reveals we subconsciously